Nothing changes. All I want is a moment to think clearly, but thoughts come unrelenting, consuming every waking moment. My mind binds me and I can't escape. I shout for help, but no one hears me. One day I feel I'll just disappear. Lost in this chaos, I'm searching for peace, but it's hard to find when my thoughts never cease. Everything I do is all consuming. My mind races, leaving me breathless and worn. I try to find solace, but it's fleeting, leaving me with nothing but the echoes of my screams. I shout for help, but no one hears me. One day I feel I'll just disappear. Lost in this chaos, I'm searching for peace, but it's hard to find when my thoughts never cease.
Oh, greetings and salutations, everyone, and welcome to the Dirt Sheet Radio NXT, ECW, AEW, Dynamite Super Show Rewind Show featuring Brock Lesnar. We don't have Brock Lesnar, but we do have myself, Tyler, the wrestling hipster, Little Molly Holly, the long-haired Paula. Guys, go around the table, introduce yourselves to the fine people at home, and let's get into it tonight, guys.
Yo, ho, ho, ho. That's exactly what you got to be saying there, Tyler. What is up? It is Nick LaRocco, otherwise known as Neek Extreme. Guys, this was an amazing night of wrestling. We were reliving the Monday Night Wars on a Wednesday night. Plus, we had elements of WWE, Ring of Honor, Stardom, New Japan, TNA, WCW, ECW, you name it. We could feel it all throughout the show. But I'll pass it on over to Robbie.
It's your boy Robbie once again here tonight on a wonderful jam-packed night of professional wrestling. And oh my God, wasn't exciting, at least from the AEW end, because I didn't get to watch NXT, but pretty excited from the AEW end. And in that case, it's two down there. Long to Caesar.
How's it going, guys? As always, I'm hanging out with these gentlemen, and sometimes with Tyler on a different show. We'll be sitting down and talking about NXT, ECW, AEW, whatever you want to call it, and everything in between. And I'm going to throw it over to our boy, Greg Dudley.
How you doing? I am Greg. I am the Extreme Ebony Experience here, and I am glad to be here for our Extreme NXT.
Woo! Extreme NXT. Hey, we got a lot of guys with glasses on. We got to make sure we all represent the Dudleys. Am I right?
For the record, mine aren't real. They're an affectation. I just like wearing them. So
at least I got a
I've had these since I was
that makes you more of a Dudley than anybody else here.
You're Dudley, sir.
Tyler, I got your back.
But yeah, guys, we have my goodness, we have a lot to cover. We basically have 4 hours of wrestling to cover here tonight.
Imagine that.
We had a quick little pre-production meeting, which is just glorified chatting before a show. And we're going to hop back and forth here. We're going to break tradition, though. We normally start with our main events this evening. We will be opening with the... someone is breathing really hard now.
Greg just stuffed his microphone right in his fucking nose. Incredible. Taking off pretty soon.
Who's that mysterious sixth man that just jumped in here?
It's hurricane season at Dirt Sheet Radio.
Woo!
Holy shit.
Yeah,
My God.
Johnny Dirt Sheet has dictated that we will be beginning at the beginning of the shows here this evening and just kind of go segment for segment between NXT and AEW.
Wait, 1 second, Greg. You really have to move your mic from me. It's right under your Airstream. It's probably There you go.
Go ahead,
This should-
caller.
that should fix it. Thank you, caller. Caller.
Thank you, caller.
Let's bring more people in here.
That was a good
Yeah,
question.
you're right.
Yes.
But yeah, so we will be going segment for segment, back and forth on this. It's going to be a lot of fun, guys, and I'm sure the chat will be live because there's a lot of wrestling
4
fans
hours.
here tonight. We're not going to be here for
Popping
4 hours, just to make that clear. And so we can guarantee we're not here for 4 hours. Let's go ahead and hop into it and begin with the opening segment we had on NXT this evening. So we opened with I'm going to say a VHS quality throwback kind of open, pure analog. It was awesome that they used the old style ECW opening, interspliced it with NXT clips. Fantastic opening. And it took us straight into our opening match, a hardcore match featuring Lola Vice and Jada Parker.
Dawn Marie, too!
With Dawn Marie, a special guest referee.
Dude,
And
I told you in our own chat, I was so pumped. I was like, holy crap. They're my,
yeah, real shock, Caesar, that you were ready for this match.
Shut up!
All right.
I'm being called out. I hate it here. I'm going to go home now. I'm
You
scared.
are home, sir. You are
Are you
home.
sure?
But Jada Parker picks up the win in just about 14 minutes
Ooh.
and 44 seconds.
Let's
Solid match. She hit Lola Vice square in the face with a brick. It was the thinnest brick I've ever seen in my life.
that brick.
Yeah, I was going to say that's like a little
I've
solder
seen
stone or
savages
something.
It wasn't like the brick that was pulled out of the briefcase by Edge when he struck He Who Shan't Be
Right.
Named. But
Shan't.
Even people in Philadelphia can point out that brick was not a real
That
brick.
brick was
Hey,
like,
if the shot hadn't lingered on it for so long, I probably wouldn't have noticed that it looked like it was made of chalk. But nonetheless, it looked good when it hit her. Her cell
How
jump.
fragile was it too? Because like that just broke like on the closest impact. Like I'm surprised it didn't just shatter in midair while it was being moved.
Well, you see, the physics of professional wrestling work a little bit differently than they do outside of the
on
ring.
the outside.
Yeah, that wrestling physics.
Yeah, it's the same.
It's like the
physical as
Scooby-Doo
to why
mask
they climb
physics.
so slow. Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of odd things that break down there. Newton couldn't explain it. I don't think Einstein really could either.
Listen, I've seen
thank you
enough.
for that.
I've seen enough springboard diamond cutters to not get too tied into the physics of it all.
Fair enough. But yeah, I thought it was a fantastic opening match here tonight. It really set the pace in the old ECW arena. The crowd was hot from go, and solid work from all involved. I really enjoy that they've kind of slated both Jada Parker and Lola Vice into these more physical and just violent sort of matches. They both really suit the environment well.
Yes. I appreciate that in the sort of graphical presentation of this match, you have Lola Vice and Jada Parker, who are two very disparate representations of various Grand Theft Auto games.
You're not wrong.
I'm pretty sure someone did that on purpose, but I don't know who.
I'm glad they did.
You might even be able to argue Dawn Marie as well.
Yeah, you might.
Yeah.
You might. Also, poor Lola Vice, who seemingly not only took that brick to the face, but right into her mouth. She was very uncomfortable
That.
after that hit. She was just like,
Greg, I don't think we can say bricked in the mouth on this show. I don't think we're allowed
oh,
to say that.
Jesus Christ. I didn't even.
Oh, we canceled.
That's not.
All right. Well, thanks for
Wow.
joining us, everyone. We'll see you next
Good
week.
everybody.
Good night.
Good night. That's it.
Like 10 minutes
God.
down.
We told you it wasn't going to be 4 hours.
But
Lola Vice
yeah,
got
but
shocked, as you'd say.
But yeah, good opening match and opening segment there. And I guess we're going to jump from here.
I have one thing to say first before we get into this AEW part of the show. What the hell was with Lola Vice's backhand in the start of the match?
Oh, that was great.
She swung and hit. I was like, oh shit. I was like, what the hell?
That was extreme.
Her fists don't lie. Her fists
But
don't lie.
she hit and was like, I didn't feel that. Like, like I was like, how?
Oh yeah. Do you guys remember in 2005 when Dawn Marie was originally released from the company? She filed a wrongful termination lawsuit with them, and on top of that, also has said some very disparaging things over the years here and there. So seeing her on WWE television tonight was actually pretty nice. And again, it shows what that new regime is still in that kind of forgiving phase for a lot of people. So I'm glad to still see that.
And that also means too.
And do you think that Tori Wilson forgave her for nearly killing her father with a heart
No.
attack?
No.
Ooh, listen, Al Wilson now, my man, he didn't
Rest in
deserve
peace.
such a festive death.
Such a festive death.
A festive death.
But I will say this
deserve
though,
that.
See that?
I can't wait to see what else WWE comes back with when it comes to bringing old people back from the days that were legends that left on bad terms. So we saw Dawn Marie come back. Who else is going to be coming back during the Triple H regime just to see who
If you
mended
saw
those
NXT,
fences?
you saw some people come back.
I mean, wrestling
I did
has
hear
always
about
been a
one
never
person
say
we
never,
talked about later.
you know,
Exactly.
kind of thing.
And plus, you know, one of the things that, you know, not to say positives about someone that's not around anymore, but, you know, a lot of people always point out Vince McMahon being willing to forgive a lot of people for suing the company or saying a bunch of bad things. And look at some of those people being involved in like major parts of production. His best friend was R-Truth, who, when he got released as K-Quick, said every single possible bad thing you could say about WWE. And now he's one of the most beloved people in the history of WWE.
He's a treasure.
He is a national treasure, and yeah, I'm glad that kind of aura of forgiveness still remains in WWE because that's big in wrestling.
And then there's another one for forgiveness too, with Saturday Night's main event coming back next month with Jesse the Body Ventura as well.
Yeah,
Who also sued the company.
I mean, we mentioned him earlier, Brock Lesnar. How many times did he sue the company before coming back?
Well, I mean, hell, in Jesse's case, isn't he one of the few people to sue the company and actually win?
Successfully.
Yeah. So
As was I think Brock Lesnar was as well, but Lesnar also naming his finishing move after the verdict that was put through in that case when he was in New Japan.
Jesse the Body Ventura, one of the few.
Not petty at all.
Exactly. Jesse the Body, though, one of the few people to defeat Jerry McDivitt.
Oh, jeez. There's a reference.
Woo!
All right, let's go to AEW.
up in AEW.
Let's go over to the other part now.
We need like we need one of those sounds.
Molly's walking away. She didn't watch AEW tonight apparently at all, so she just
Don't worry. I'll sub it. We'll tag in for.
You have to do the old ECW static segment transfer.
All right, Molly's tagged up for Storlax.
All right, who's leading AEW? I know, Mac. Me too. All right, I guess I introduced it. I'll lead AEW stuff. How's that? All right. Hurt Syndicate opens up the show. We have a big response, of course, for Shelton Benjamin. How could you not, man? He represents pure excellence. MVP is coming out there alongside the man, the myth, the legend, the brute, the dominator. You name it. He is him. It is Bobby freaking Lashley, the Jiren of the group. Look at that. I mean, come on. Oh, man. But
looks like crab bubbles.
But MVP has been passing out those cards here and there to the different
Where's
talents.
our card?
Hey, you didn't get one? Robbie's got his right there. But MVP has been handing out these cards. These are the golden tickets for pro wrestlers. But Swerve just doesn't care about any of this. Swerve has murder. He has vengeance. He has ruthless aggression in his eyes as he comes out.
Can't say that anymore.
With a chain. Swerve looks absolutely furious. I see the picture right here. I'm gonna pop that up. Look at those eyes. Swerve gets so many of the little kind of finessing, the little subtleties right when it comes to wrestling, and that's why he's one of the best that they've got. But the same thing could be said about the Hurt Syndicate, and we didn't get much from this, just a lot of angry stare downs, but you know what we did get? Swerve calling out Bobby Lashley for Full Gear, and that has been accepted.
Exciting.
Did Mac call me out? There he is. Let's go. The WCW partner. Let's go.
I'm actually very excited for that match. I'm a big fan of just about anything Bobby Lashley does, and this is a good place to see if he can he's an older man from a different time. Let's see how he does with some of these young cats, so to speak.
I got faith.
Those young guns.
Yeah, when it comes down to Bobby Lashley, for somebody that's his age, he is strictly jacked. Obviously, he kind of already gave his secret out where he said, honestly, it's us all in the back for him, so in order for him to look good. And to see that Bobby Lashley, who was at one point one of the top guys in WWE, former world champion himself, getting to face now an AEW world champion and Swerve with this absolute dream match coming up. We've seen what Swerve can do. We all know what Swerve can do. But let's really see what Bobby Lashley can do against Swerve. When it's all said and done, are we going to see an insane interceptor from him where Swerve's going to go inside out? Or is Swerve going to finally put that nail in the coffin and beat Bobby? But the thing is, where I'm looking at it is, if you're building the Hurt Syndicate like you're trying to do, and you're trying to build that faction to be a very dominant faction, I think Bobby Lashley will probably beat Swerve, no doubt about that, because we got to build Bobby now in the AEW as well.
Those are going to have some opinions.
No, absolutely. And we also take a moment to appreciate how great Hurt Syndicate looked. Like, oh, come on. They look like stars, which how many weeks, if not months, have we seen these guys? I mean, they already seem like they're the cream of the crop when it comes down to the AEW roster. And again, when you look at the talent, look at the resume, it's no surprise. And I'm very glad that we do have these guys here. And yeah, Bobby Lashley versus Swerve is going to be absolutely killer at Full Gear. You guys all looking forward to it?
Hell yeah.
Oh, hell yeah. It's going to be great.
I dig the hell out of the gold. I dig the hell out of the gold ties.
That's a bitchin' picture.
That is just pure aura right there, guys. But
three bad dudes you don't want to fuck with.
Absolutely. And yeah, match is set. We'll see it at Full Gear. But hey, I'm going to throw it back over to Tyler for NXT Extreme.
All right. So I'm going to hit a couple quick backstage segments here to kind of like wrap this before we throw back over to NXT or AEW. It's kind of a hard thing to balance here, guys. But so back over at a quick promo from Rich Holland and Ethan Page ahead of their tag match against Trick Williams and Bubba Ray Dudley later tonight. They were actually cutting their promo in front of the Rocky statue. Right there in Philadelphia, which I'm not exactly certain where that thing's located nowadays. I know it used to be there at the top of the steps at the art museum, but I'm not sure where they moved it to. But they were in front of the Rocky statue, so
it's close to the steps, but it's like off to the side, I think.
Okay, they just kind of moved it off the center there. Okay,
moved it to the side, yeah.
But pretty solid promo work here from both, just reestablishing that Ethan Page is not done in his pursuit of the NXT Championship from Trick Williams. And Rich Holland is also looking to win that championship as well. So, I mean, they've got a tentative partnership here, but, it's probably not going to last too much longer, especially considering how that match went later tonight. But from there, still backstage, we had Kalani Jordan prepping for her match, talking to none other than Rob Van Dam.
That was so cool to see.
Well, and Kalani Jordan a while ago had posted a photo of her on social media doing the Van Dam press there. So I mean, it's something that she's practiced at. And it was a cool moment between them backstage. But as they were chatting there and they were kind of parting ways, Rob got jumped by Wes Lee as Wes was heading out towards the ring there, saying he made Rob's decision for him. Not really sure what that meant, but hoping that we have some more between those two going forward. But a couple fun little backstage segments there, setting up for more action that will come later in NXT. If you gents don't have anything on those segments, we'll toss back over to AEW.
All right.
I did want to quickly bring up just how odd it was to me that Rob Van Dam got completely geared up for a special referee appearance.
Referee?
Or whatever, he wasn't in the match.
He was just there.
He was just there.
And like he's taped
always
up,
have
he's
your gear.
strapped up, he's kick padded.
Rule number 1: always wear your gear. Rule number 1:
exactly. I'll never forget those Raw Legends reunion shows where they have all the legends coming out and Tatanka's all ready to go in his full gear.
No. Gotta be ready. Always have your gimmicks ready, man. Always have your gimmicks. That's how it goes.
Yeah, that's why I always got a tank on me. You never know when it's podcast time.
Oh, jeez.
All right, but hey, let's go over to AEW. We go from Deathmatch to Death Riders. Claudio and Pac are coming out with Wheeler Yuta backing them up. Claudio takes someone's trash, their box that they just left there on the ringside area, kicks it, and the fan catches it. This is why I am very disappointed in the crowd, because if it was anywhere else in one of those bigger wrestling towns, they would have cheered for that.
Brother, it wasn't even garbage. He took someone's action figure.
That's what I noticed.
That was an action figure.
Piece of merchandise. He kicked it up in the air.
It looked like an open box.
It was a full. I was thinking about how happy that guy must feel that he got his action figure kicked up in the air and caught it on live television. Someone
we assumed that was his.
That kid lost his mind.
I think there was someone in front that just kind of sat it back there for whatever reason, because you wouldn't trust that way. And then Claudio just kicks it out, and someone else.
Where'd it go?
It was $500.
I put it down to grab my nachos. Now it's gone.
Oh man! But hey,
Collector's item.
What about that theme song?
that was definitely a choice. That was not the usual Death Rider theme song that we hear typically with John Moxley coming out there on his New Japan theme. But hey, I thought it fit. They had a real cool new logo as well. Very edge core, but it was very anarchist. I loved it. It was great. And we also had coming out everyone wearing black because there it is. Yeah,
I thought Yuta was in white. Wasn't he?
Yuta's not in the match, but
interesting.
But Orange Cassidy comes out. He is blood orange. We also didn't see his tag partner. So, hey, you know what? Claudio and Pac are going to do what they do best. They're going to go and jump him. Wait a minute. No, they're not, because guess who's jumping up from the heavens? It's Darby. And remember, too, Forbidden Door 2022. I was there. I'll reference it every week. That was the same kind of the tunnel that Sting dove off of onto the Young Bucks. So a little bit of kind of cross-reference foreshadow, plus Darby just being Darby, jump off of high objects, pulling his inner Shane O'Mac. But yeah, so this was a match absolutely back and forth, and I absolutely that was brutal. Darby just got absolutely annihilated. Orange Cassidy is just at one point going around, and he has given everyone an orange punch. You get an orange punch, and you get an orange punch. And I thought he was going to even orange punch Marina Shafir at one point. And speaking of which,
she's like, oh, nope.
Well, you know who's not afraid of hitting people? Speaking of which, Marina Shafir. She goes in there, bops Bryce Remsburg in the head with the briefcase. And hey, now that that's in, Moxley jumps on in there, gives the sleeper to Orange Cassidy, but Darby jumps in there with a skateboard, hits Moxley in the back with the skateboard. Yuta ends up jumping him, but Darby manages to use that skateboard. He is landing on his feet like a cat, springing back up there with the skateboard. Bop, bop, bop. And finally, Darby's able to fight off the Death Riders. Here's a skateboard reference, if anyone else remembers. Mike Vallely fighting off like four drunk dudes while Bam Margera is recording it. I don't know if anyone remembers that.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, that's a deep cut right there. So Darby engaging his inner Mike Vallely there and fighting everyone off. If you know, you know. And Darby gets thrown by Claudio into the ring post. He's absolutely ragdolled. And Conglomeration finally will make their way out to try to even the odds. And hey, they're going to be up in the next match. But what do we think of this match and everything that we got storyline-wise from here, fellas?
Well, when it comes down to the match itself, it was a very good way to kick off tonight with the tag team match, and how everything was structurally sound between all the events that were happening. It all was crisp. It all looked good. Obviously, Marina Shafir being that equalizer that is with the Death Riders at this point, getting involved at that point to hit Bryce Remsburg in the back of the head with that briefcase, which we still don't know what the hell's in that briefcase at this point. But otherwise,
here comes Mongo.
I wanted to see more of this match for sure, because there's something definitely in the making with Orange and Darby tag teaming. Mm-hmm. But also, shout out for Darby for taking another high spot and then getting whiplash like Rey Mysterio, getting into the ring pose like he did as well, because he got absolutely, he got mauled on that ring pose. I was honestly hoping he wasn't injured again after that one. But then everything else, it was kind of like you had to like really pay attention to watch, because it felt like everybody was just coming in all at once. You don't know who's getting hit with who. I honestly forgot that Darby hit him with the skateboard, Moxley with the skateboard, because there was just so much going all at once that it was just overstimulation. And honestly, the conglomeration coming on down, they came up, make the save. Honestly, I can't wait to see more about building Darby up for the future, probably to be the one to take down Moxley as the AEW World Champion. We know that's building up, but the match itself, at Full Gear, Orange Cassidy versus Jon Moxley. Now that is going to be a straight banger. Every time those guys get in the ring against each other, they always put on magic and they always will put on a clinic. But unfortunately, I love Orange Cassidy, but this is not his time yet to be world champion. Moxley's going to take that title back.
Represent the Death Riders. They're all champions pretty much. And Shafir's just a designated hit woman. She is the assassin of the group.
She's the muscle.
Oh, exactly. And hey, I want to get through one more quick segment before I throw it on over. Speaking of the muscle, Renee Paquette has been interviewing Ricochet backstage, and she is trying to figure out who his mystery partner is. But we don't get to find out too much because the very well-dressed Hurt Syndicate rolls on up. Ricochet says that they talked, and MVP agrees that they did. And the group stands around in a way where it's just like, you have a choice to make. You could pick one of us. You could solidify your place in the Hurt Syndicate. Fix that mistake that you made in the other place, the other promotion. So we'll see how that goes. But guys, do we think Ricochet might be joining Hurt Syndicate at all in the near future? Maybe even just as an associate?
I honestly don't know at this point, but honestly, I would. My heart says no because I want Ricochet to just stand out as a single star into himself. But my mind and also the way Tony Khan books his shows too, I honestly do see Tony Khan putting Ricochet in the Hurt Syndicate as well to help elevate him as well. But at that point, he's going to be playing backup to both Shelton and Bobby Lashley. So what really could Ricochet do except just stay away from the Hurt Syndicate and feud against them, but be a single star in his own right and not be in a faction?
Right.
So,
Greg, what are you gonna say?
I am of two minds. I am on two minds on this. One would say that I agree with our buddy up here because obviously Ricochet is the kind of guy who would be the perfect opponent for both guys like Shelton Benjamin and Bobby Lashley. You know,
the antithesis of those guys.
The grounder and the pounder against the high flying superstar known as him. It's the styles make fights of professional wrestling. That said, one could argue that being around a guy like MVP, both for the support and for the improvement of Ricochet, might be something that guy has needed for a very long time.
That's true.
You know, I once saw a man known as Truth Martini take a Jay Lethal who couldn't speak to a plastic cup and teach that man how to cut a promo. Maybe that's what Ricochet has been missing.
Where is Truth Martini these days, speaking of which? What happened?
Not the foggiest idea.
Actually, I do know where he's at. He's currently in Michigan right now. He owns his own wrestling school, and he's training other wrestlers as of right now. I actually used to have a buddy that is just got trained by Truth Martini as well, so that's what Martini's up these days.
Who thought we were going to get a Truth Martini shout out on this show? That is fantastic.
Yeah.
But hey, fellas, we don't have anything else to throw out there. I'm going to throw it on back to Tyler because I think we got some great high-flying action to talk about.
Woo! We do now. Right before we get into the next match, we did have a outside the arena segment. The family was approached by none other than Nunzio and Tony Marvelou.
Represent
canonically, Tony D'Angelo is related to Nunzio and Tony. They're all one family, apparently. And
where's my pizza?
Love it. Italians, let's go.
He was a little upset. He felt disrespected that Tony D didn't return his calls, didn't return his voicemails.
Wrong phone number.
He said he made a couple phone calls, and tonight he's getting a North American title shot against Tony D. So yeah, we got that announcement later tonight. We are going to be seeing Nunzio in action in 2024 on NXT television. So that was fun announcement there, but that's going to take us into our next
Where's JT
match.
Smith?
Catering.
Exactly. Where is JT Smith now?
And Big Guido.
Big Guido.
But
Next up, we had Javon Evans and Wesley going one-on-one. Shades of Jerry Lynn and Rob Van Dam here, guys. This was an outstanding physical, high-flying match. I don't know how these guys rarely screw up at all. Like, it's incredible to me. I'm talking about defying physics and the physics of wrestling being different than outside of it. They put on a fantastic match with just about 12 minutes and 18 seconds. Javon Evans getting a major win here tonight with a little bit of a distraction there by Rob Van Dam. But damn it, I'm really hoping to see some sort of further interaction or matches between Rob Van Dam or Wesley or Rob and Javon or all three in one thing together. I need it. Families could eat off of this for decades, and I need it. Just tap it into my bloodstream. But guys, what do you think of this match here tonight and the possibilities coming out of it?
I mean, like you said, sorry, Caesar, go ahead.
Okay. Honestly, I've seen a bunch of Wesley before this, but when it came to Javon, holy crap, I was like, okay, let's see what this kid can do. And if I'm not mistaken, he's 20, isn't he? Like, he's still
he's a youngster.
So that match Randy Orton as well.
Yeah, so seeing all these spots they took, and they, as like what Tyler was saying, they're defying gravity. I was like, what the hell am I watching? Like, in a good way. Some of the spots they pulled, I wrote down, they hit I don't know if it's like a Hurricane off the top rope, but he did some kind of weird, like, move off the top rope and launched Wesley like straight into the mat on his head. And I was like, what the hell is this guy doing? Like, in a good way. So I'm in the same boat as Tyler. Like, I want to see what's going to happen with Javon Evans going forward.
Yo, listen, like, Javon Evans is about the same age that Rey Mysterio was when he was in ECW. And one of the things I wrote down in my notes, Tyler, like you said, with, getting the vibes of Rob Van Dam and Jerry Lynn here, honestly, I was hearkening back to, when we first saw wrestlers getting their shot on the American stage with, like, Psychosis and, Rey Mysterio and Super Crazy and Tajiri. I was definitely feeling like, the high-flying ECW vibes from the way their cruiserweight division has just excelled. And it was such a great match, and I thought that it was kind of funny how the amount of times the crowd was like, holy
oh my god,
how many times they had to silence it because this was wild.
Ridiculous how often they have to drop the sound now. I understand it. I understand it, but like, you can't control the crowd. That's just part of it, and it's a little silly. I wish they had a better way to work around that, and
especially in ECW.
They blocked it out.
Yeah,
people were flipping the bird, and they just blocked the screen out completely. And it's, I don't know, it's a bit much, but hey,
I mean,
it's network TV. What are you going to do? It's CW.
Right.
That, and it's Philadelphia in the old ECW. What are you going to do?
The city that booed Santa Claus.
And throw snowballs at Santa Claus.
I would say that this was for all the ECW parallels. This is incredibly evocative of the old extreme death matches between Rey Mysterio and Juventud Guerrero for me.
Oh yeah,
like that's the stuff I'm thinking of here. But Javon Evans is just like, that's like a one of a kind, just gifted athlete right there. Like, you don't teach that.
Nope. Can't.
It's something to watch.
Raw talent and ability.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
But gents, unless y'all have anything else to bring up on that match, we'll toss back over to the AEW.
AEW represent. Hey, we talked about Extreme, am I right? So let's get to a fight without honor. We had those elements of ECW with NXT. Let's get the elements of Ring of Honor here, boys. The conglomeration, Mark Briscoe, Kyle O'Reilly, and Big Tom, Tomohiro Ishii, are able to defeat the Learning Trees, Chris Jericho, Big Bill, and Bounty Hunter Brian Keith, the Bad Apple. They really need to let him come out and do a singles match. This is just a side tangent. His theme song is amazing. Look it up if you don't know what it is. It's a great song. But this was another Extreme bout, and oh my gosh, tables were everywhere. Yeah. You would think that this was the ECW tribute show of the night, and I really liked how the strategy came off effectively in this match, because you got a giant on the other side who, of course, has a Tony Schiavone quote on his behind. Yep. So that's just powering him up exponentially. So, you really want to make sure that you stop the giant redwood that is Big Bill. And I thought it was very great to see Kyle O'Reilly trying to make the ultimate sacrifice for his team by being the one to kind of take Big Bill out of the equation and basically nearly leave the arena, going through one of the tunnelways. But Kyle O'Reilly got chased over to where they had some tables set up, and Big Bill jumps up on there, right? And right when it looks like Big Bill's going to choke slam O'Reilly through the double table setup, no, O'Reilly gets him in the guillotine, and both men topple downwards. O'Reilly literally went there. He is that guy making that sacrifice to take out the Giant. Kudos to him. I really wanted a lot of people to know that. But speaking of kudos, how many feet high up was that, and how many feet away is that ladder as the froggy bow from the heavens goes down and Briscoe hits Jericho through the table, looking much better than their original match. And yeah, like we said, the conglomeration gets the victory because Big Tom himself managed to jump on in there, get a brain buster, 1, 2, 3.
Time.
Yeah, exactly. He showed up on time. He showed up to work when it was time to go and step up to protect the boys, and he was able to pin Jericho.
I did just want to bring up that incredible moment where Ishii pins Jericho, and they're supposed to be setting up a new contender for Jericho's title, but Ishii can't find the Ring of Honor Championship belt. Jericho's
I saw the ref like over there.
No, Jericho's laying on the ground and he's like trying to point at the title, but Ishii doesn't see it, so he just puts the foot on the chest. And when he finally does find the belt, they never get the shot. They never get the shot because it's too late.
Oh man!
So presumably Ishii is a world title contender, but we did not get confirmation.
Didn't get the shot. We'll get that social media exclusive on out there. Getting those shades of Shawn Michaels having to point to Great Khali where the hard camera was.
Yeah.
Well, guys, what do we think of the match, though?
The match itself, obviously, it was a good fight without honor, but the thing is, though, too, it wasn't the best one they ever had, but it was still entertaining. Still a lot of carnage, a lot of table spots, though. I don't know how many damn tables they put through tonight. You would assume the Dudley Boys were actually wrestling in AEW at that point with how many tables they were using.
Right.
But otherwise,
sure, it's Public Enemy in here.
Off the ladder, finally, they get that spot to work with him and Jericho, with Briscoe and Jericho. Brian Keith did make the save, though, before the Big Tom brainbuster on Jericho. It was a fun match, very high octane action. My only takeaway is, how the hell did Ishii not find that title? It was literally, sitting right next to Jericho, and he couldn't even find it. It was kind of funny when they panned away, but from going forward, we know that Briscoe doesn't have the eyes right now back on getting that title back. But as it's building up, it's definitely going to be Tomohiro Ishii to be the next contender for the Ring of Honor World Heavyweight Championship, which I am fine with that. Tomohiro is a great damn wrestler. Wouldn't mind seeing him as a Ring of Honor World Heavyweight Champion, just for the fact of he is a pure wrestler's wrestler. We've seen him over in Japan of what he's been able to do, and he's
a legend.
Big ass kicker. He's a damn legend as well. And basically for me, it's just anybody that can take it off of Jericho, for me, that would just make me happy, because I have stated that I don't like having Chris Jericho as a Ring of Honor World Champion.
Yes, you have.
Otherwise, the fact that was just pure carnage, big fun. Kyle O'Reilly hitting that guillotine on Big Bill, putting him through the table to get him out. The quote on Big Bill's ass, and then Tony Schiavone actually did address the whole thing as well on commentary. He basically, just going to paraphrase it, he was honored that Big Bill had a quote from him on his ass. He actually found it quite achieving to him, but otherwise, fun match. Weird. Just, come on, Ishii, you gotta get that title pan in time so we can put that on camera. That's the only takeaway. Very fun.
Well, he doesn't have a neck, so it's hard for him to kind of turn and see everything right away.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, so, hey, following that up, we had the Death Riders walking in the backstage area, and Moxley reminds Orange Cassidy that Wheeler Yuta doesn't owe him a single thing. He is a warrior for Moxley now, Wheeler Yuta is. And Moxley's also just disappointed in Darby Allin. He had a lot of high hopes for him, and Moxley is basically telling everyone what his mission is and that he is sick and tired of being sick and tired of the people in AEW not taking the business seriously like how he does. But hey, at this point now, I will throw it on back to Tyler with NXT X. Extreme.
All
Yeah.
right, all right. So we were catching up backstage with Stevie Turner and Rob Stone walking alongside Ava as she was making her way out to the ring to make her announcement here. She was approached by Eddie Thorpe, and she brushed Eddie Thorpe off again. So Eddie Thorpe, I guess, slowly becoming an angry DJ. So she brushed him off, and they made their way out to the ring, and Ava came out to announce that Deadline will be taking place in Minneapolis, Minnesota. That got booed from the Philadelphia crowd. I'm not sure why the Philly crowd would boo Minnesota.
They want the show for themselves.
I guess so. And hey, look, there's Joe Hendry's face back there in the corner. Goodness.
Say his name and he appears.
I was gonna say, did they lose to the Vikings recently? What happened?
Yeah, right. I'm not really sure why the boo there, but
It's 'cause they want the
Robert
show.
Stone, they do want the show, and we all
Plus,
want the show.
it's
Robert
Minnesota,
Stone
eh?
started laying into the Philly crowd, saying that the New York audiences were better, saying that Boston audiences were better.
Basically, anybody was better.
Right, and while he was doing this, sneaking into the ring, I don't know how a man of this size sneaks anywhere, but up from behind comes the man beast Rhino with a gore.
In his gear.
to
In his
Robert
gear.
Stone.
He's in his
In
gear.
his gear, yes.
TNA Hall of Famer Rhino.
He's just a wrestling Hall of Famer at this point.
Hey, it's not even his first time being in NXT either. He had that awesome run
No,
a
it's
couple of
not.
years back in like what,
No,
2015?
His awesome run was this gore.
Absolutely, it always is. Okay, I put this in the group chat, but one of the funny things I was thinking of was I wrote down something along the lines of, why did I think 911 was going to come out?
Nice.
I mean,
Listen, with the
you
lights
know,
out, that is his gimmick.
Right? Lights out and then just
I believe
one
he
choke
is.
slam and that's it.
I mean,
I
they
believe
could
he
have
is. I
gotten.
think I've seen some images of 911 watching his son wrestle.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, his son is wrestling now, but they could have easily got him to come to Philadelphia because he's from Jersey.
Plus, that would have been iconic.
That would have been. There might have been a little bit of a deep cut for younger audiences too. Like I would
Yeah, true.
wonder what percentage of the modern like NXT crowd, even with some ECW knowledge to them, would really have recognized that immediately.
The hardcore ones, probably.
Probably
Hardcore?
the casuals.
Hardcore in Philadelphia, you say?
Casuals probably wouldn't recognize what 911 is if they would have just like watched Peacock. But definitely the hardcore Philadelphia fans know who 911 is. Definitely those day ones that have been going to that arena just specifically for ECW, they would know who 911 is for sure.
Arguably the deepest cut reference out of the ECW that you got this entire night is technically Francine, because she's the only one out of the guys that showed up here that didn't get the WWE push after it.
Yes, that's right. I think she did not want to. I don't know if she ever was even reached out to have a contract, or she just had no desire joining with WWE at that point.
No,
But-
so
She
what
had-
happened?
She
If you
had
guys
the
were,
deal
she
when
got
she came
signed.
in early. Yeah.
She got signed, but she didn't like how they were only putting her in like those house show bikini contests. So she wanted to get
Oh.
released. So she asked for her release.
Oh.
The more you
That
know.
makes sense now.
It just didn't work out.
Yeah, that's how it goes sometimes, especially because when you think about it too, what was that, like 2005, 2006? Look at how big the WWE roster was at the time. I mean, you had
Gargantuan. Ridiculous.
full Raw roster. You had a full SmackDown roster. They, released a bunch of people the year before to try and re-sign Brock Lesnar to some crazy contract, which led to that lawsuit we mentioned earlier. And they brought all of those people back and then some. And then on top of that, they're bringing in all kinds of ECW originals and a bunch of other people they think would fit into ECW at the time, like a Brad Armstrong or Gangrel or
Monty
Midian.
Brown.
No, exactly. So, they were signing everyone and anyone under the sun. So the roster was absolutely jam-packed at the time. So they were able to easily just be like, all right, we've got Francine on the roster. She wants to leave. That's fine. There you go.
Yeah. And you got other guys there who are like, who are obviously bigger names in ECW. And it's just like, hey, Justin, we'd love for you to put up this young upstart here we got called CM Punk. Could you do that for us? That'd be great.
You're Pulaka.
Just a real quick blip segment before I throw back to AEW. In the backstage area in the locker room, the 5 women on the babyface side of the main event women's 10-man tag or 10-woman tag match tonight were discussing their strategies and such, and they were approached by Lash Legend and Jakara Jackson, who had quite a showing at Crown Jewel, I will say. But
they're looking great on SmackDown too.
Oh yeah. I would wonder if they'd be getting this sort of push and opportunity if Noam Dar wasn't hurt right now. I feel like with him not being able to be the focus of Metaphor, they kind of had to give a lot of shine to Oro first, and then they kind of moved that to Lash and Jakara. But yeah, they've been looking great as of late. But looks like it's setting up maybe a little something between any number of them and combination of the two. But I think that we'll probably get a Stephanie Vaquer and Julia match against them.
That'd be sweet to check out.
But yes, from there we'll throw back to the AEW.
All right, to the AEW, we have a match that was, like 8 years in the making? Adam Cole versus Malachi Black. This was set to, I thought this was going to be an absolute barn burner, but honestly, I don't know what it was. I don't know if the chemistry just wasn't there. This match didn't necessarily hit as hard as, you think it would, and I don't know if it's also because, the fans were just super burnt out from whatever was. Oh no! I don't know if it was fans being super burnt out from the match before with the fight without honor, but yeah, this match didn't hit as hard as it should have. But for what we did get, it was nice to be able to get some stuff between two of the top dogs in AEW, two very lean men, I might add, and the crowd was definitely burnt out. But we got some things such as Adam Cole kicking out of the Black Mass, that was wild. That got me going, and I think too, while the crowd was dead in the early, maybe 2/3 of the match, by the last third, they really started coming unglued when it came down to Super Kick Party, because it was counter after counter. Both these guys finally, I think, were hitting their stride and their chemistry finally linked in. I wish the rest of the match was like this, but not much we can really say about that, though. But Adam Cole hit the Panama Sunrise and ended up boom knee to give Malachi Black one of only a handful of clean losses in AEW in a singles match. That was definitely something. And then on top of that, giving a hug and a show of respect to Malachi Black. And then we see Malachi Black sort of facing back to the crowd while Adam Cole grabs the microphone and says how great of a wrestler he is. And Malachi Black actually left through the face tunnel. I don't know if anyone caught that aspect of it. We did get the report from Fightful that it looks like Malachi Black's going to be wrapping up his time in AEW in the near future, probably later this year, if not early next year. Do we foresee the return of Aleister Black? Or is he might going to take a little time to himself to tour a bit before then?
Deep cut.
Yeah, and as Nick was saying, I felt the same way. The beginning of the match was very clunky, it was very slow. Definitely wasn't like how they were years ago in NXT TakeOver Philadelphia. He had that same vibe, that same atmosphere that those two were able to get until towards the middle to the end. Once they did that, all the cylinders clicked, crowd got back into it, and Adam Cole getting that win on Black, as Nick said, that's Black doesn't lose cleanly as much in singles competition in AEW ever. And honestly, I think this is my first singles match for Black he's had in a while, which honestly could also be pushing Malachi Black to go back to WWE to be Aleister Black. Is not much singles exposure, because if you kind of look at the House of Black, they're always that trios package outside of Brody King and Buddy Matthews, but we don't see Malachi Black get much singles competition that I have seen out of him, at least on Dynamite. It can be a little bit different on Rampage Collision, I don't know. But I'm going to agree with what John said in our chat earlier, and that is, if he's unhappy in AEW as of right now, let him go, so that way he can go be happy mentally somewhere else, because we've seen him leave WWE because he wasn't there mentally either. Maybe AEW is not there for him, but I wouldn't be surprised if he does go back to WWE, because Triple H was very high on Aleister Black during those early days of the Black and Gold NXT. And Aleister was a big part of that NXT brand, what matches we got out of him and stuff. So honestly, I would like to see him come back. but also I don't want to. I kind of want to see if he does want to extend his contract, get a little bit more money off of Tony Khan, just to keep the House of Black going. Because my issue is, if he leaves, then what's there left for Brody King and Buddy Matthews at that point?
Oh, or Julia Hart. I think Brody King will be
Julia
fine
too.
because they've done a great job, I'd say, of pushing Brody King as just an absolute monster, a destroyer. And they've kept him very protected over the years, I have to say. As for Buddy and Julia, it's kind of give or take on that one. I'm not personally sure what's going to necessarily happen with them.
That, and also the name the House of Black wouldn't have to change if he does go back to WWE. Wouldn't they seek out a copyright just for that last name of Black at that point?
Not necessarily, because then you can look back at like Blackpool Combat Club after Regal left. So
That's true.
Plus, I don't know. I think there's a lot of potential there. I don't know if Brody King would take over and be the leader, but he'd be pretty cool and intimidating as a leader. Like, imagine this giant mountain of a man walks out there and he has like all these other, like some more people might join the stable. Who knows? I've always thought Big Shotty Lee Johnson should join the House of Black. I thought he'd be a great addition to them. And especially, I just picture Lee and Buddy teaming up there. That'd be so cool. They work really well together, I think. But yeah, just throw a couple of people in there, and I think Brody King might be able to be a great leader for the House. The House always wins. But hey, now we'll talk about the other side of the spectrum with Adam Cole, baby. He says that Roddy and him are going to both win all 3 matches necessary to take on MJF at the Triple Threat in Full Gear. MJF is watching this, and usually we get a lot of verbiage from MJF, but he's not particularly in a angry, boastful mood. Instead, we get a more kind of quiet and reserved MJF who simply makes a phone call, and he says that he has to pay a person a visit. So this wasn't, like I said, the usual loud MJF we get. This was a more strategic MJF. So that was also a little something there. And we also got a little video of the man that sacrificed himself in the previous match, Kyle O'Reilly, once again watching the Adam Cole match. Kyle O'Reilly, who's got some history with Adam Cole and, of course, Roderick Strong, has been watching their matches very carefully. Exactly, Robbie. So we've got also Renee chatting. I'm just going to really quickly get through this last segment. We'll throw it on out there. Renee chatting with JY backstage about an upcoming pay-per-view match with Hangman Adam Page. Switchblade doesn't really get to talk much because guess what? The Hangman runs up from behind and jumps him, and it is a battle. These two guys are duking it out still. Once again, fight forever, am I right? They go out to the stage on like the side area where the curtain ends, and we see Hangman get the better of the fight on the stage, so much so he grabs a steel chair. Right when he's getting ready to hit, Juice runs out there with the greatest interception I have ever seen in professional wrestling history and jumps up, grabs that chair, and now it is a 2-on-1. Juice has sprint in there. Again, that interception sealed the deal. They turned it around, and the Switchblade challenges Hangman to a rematch one more time at Full Gear. And that there's so many segments at this point. You know what? I'm going to just take a break for AEW, and I'll throw it back to NXT at this point.
I feel you. Sometimes the rapid fire talk segments kind of catch up, but hey, we're Molly came back for this one, but we're throwing into our next match on NXT's card this evening. We had Ethan Page and Rich Holland teaming together to take on Trick Williams and Bubba Ray Dudley. Holy hell, Bubba got one heck of a pop from that audience there in Philadelphia. That was to be expected.
Yeah.
But they went absolutely nuts for him. He put glasses on Booker T's face. Booker was himself. All over it, man. He likes it now. This match, I'll talk about the ending here in a second. It was a lot of fan service here. Felt a little house showy in some aspects with kind of how nostalgic they went, but it was a nostalgia show in large part tonight, so that's understandable. But the match itself ended quite abruptly when Rich Holland, with a quick roll-up, gets a 3 count on the NXT champion, Trick Williams. So Ridge probably going to be gunning for that title shot here in the very near future. Afterwards, the faces quickly catch up to the heels. Ridge says, screw this, dips out of the ring, leaving Ethan Page. I guess discretion is the better part of valor tonight. And Ethan Page gets just beat pillar to post. They want to put him through a table. Apparently, there are no tables under the
No,
ring,
there's not.
which I find shocking. But
They were all stolen for AEW.
right? But out comes Devon Dudley.
That
with
was
the table,
so cool.
Who got the tables?
Got the tables, brings it out. Didn't even have to really be asked directly. He just knew what to do tonight. You know, that's how
He wasn't
well
in full
both
gear,
work
though.
together.
He was only
No,
in
he was-
casuals
You know, jeans and a t-shirt, it works, guys. Okay, it's
and
easy.
glasses.
But yeah, they
Full
put.
gear is literally something.
I mean, jeans and a t-shirt weren't too far from Devon's actual gear for quite some time.
Right.
Yeah,
I
for a
was
while he was
Where's
dressed
the
in
camo
overalls.
pants?
I was hoping for the tie-dye tonight for Bubba.
I
honestly,
agree.
Like,
Yeah,
That would have been cool to see.
but-
that was ECW in whole for the Dudley boys.
Right.
There.
I think that was another one of those aspects where, trying to bring that sense of nostalgia, but also the sense of familiarity, because all the WWE fans remember the Dudleys as the camo guys. I don't think a lot of them remember the tie-dye era.
yeah.
They don't even remember the time that they were running in 2004 as well with the black and yellow jerseys, just about too, with
Right.
the
Yeah.
black and yellow camo as well.
Those were very rare wrestling figures. Just was able to grab a
Deep
2-pack
cut.
of that for like $100-something bucks. But I do want to say, Trick was living his best life here. You could tell he's been a lifelong Dudley's fan. Like anytime he was able to, do anything with Bubba, he looked like he was just on cloud nine. And on top of that, you could tell he's like practiced that his whole life. He was doing all of the right like Dudley boy mannerisms too.
He was
Right.
prepared. He
He
did his
was
homework.
enjoying himself, and I love that.
Yeah, fantastic. Like I said, a lot of fun. Just over 10 minutes there. I said the biggest shocking part here was that Rich Holland got
Right.
the pinfall victory over Trick Williams. Like I said, obviously setting up for a future match between them. But
Can I make a prediction?
yes, always, Caesar. Always.
Well, I mean, I'm not going to be here for the next few shows when it comes to NXT, but I'll say it now. Him and Trick's not losing. I'm just gonna say.
No,
it.
yeah, there's no way in
No,
hell
God.
Trick is
I
gonna
feel
lose that
I feel
title
like
match.
Trick's gonna have like a kind of one-sided match against Ridge, but Ridge isn't gonna get the win because they want to go back to Ethan and Trick, but
Yeah.
not Ridge. I'm sorry, but I'm not a huge Ethan Page fan. I'm not a fan of the Ego, but between the two of them, I'll take my Canadian side and go with the Ego Page. In all honesty, on this one.
I think you're legally mandated to side with Ethan Page due to your Canadiosity.
No, I think he's
Canadiosity?
he's acting. Hold on.
Canadiosity.
Chelsea Green is my side. Ethan Page is on the eastern side. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, so whoa! Is there bad blood between the East and West Coast Canadians?
Wait, why
No.
we didn't know this?
No, but if I had to choose,
That would be some
I'll back
trouble
Chelsea
tonight.
Green. I'll back Chelsea Green first,
Shocker there. Shocker.
not for the
shocker.
obvious reasons.
As far as Rich Holland goes, I would never trust a man that only wears one knee pad.
Right?
I will say he has a brand
Oh,
new
hold on.
attitude that's turning on Chase.
What's like less trustworthy? Wearing one knee pad or wearing your knee pads on your shins?
The one knee pad.
I don't know. How about wearing like a million knee pads if you're Ahmed Johnson?
You leave him out of this.
Look, that man had leg injury problems. All right, you would have
Never
worn
wrestled
the
who doesn't.
goddamn knee pads if you could do. All right,
And a speech impediment.
what happened to
Speech
Ahmed
impediment.
Johnson? Where'd he go? What?
Big T.
Don't you bring a big T.
The
Don't
feud
you dare.
over the letter T.
Don't you dare.
What a great company that was.
I'm gonna
Can't
throw
believe they're not
somebody
around.
too. Or throwing in somebody with no knee pads at all.
Case.
Listen,
Old
no
school,
knee
that's
pads
old
is
school.
fine because at least you're
No,
consistent.
Gotta throw people off their game. Change the knee up every week.
Oh no.
See, all that's fine. What I think we can all agree on is the tight structure where it's one leg is long and the other is just nothing. It's just a knee pad.
Listen, Zack Ryder.
Exactly.
Hey, Zack
Oh,
Ryder's
God.
dead, by the way.
His theme song was so hype. Holy shit.
Oh, radio. But that is Ethan Page and Rich Holland picking up the win here tonight. Like I said, after we cover the after matches, so I'm just going to hit this backstage segment and then throw back to AEW. But backstage, real quick, we had Dion Lennox talking to Ashante the Adonis. And Ashante was approached by Carmen Petrovic, who was seemingly very upset regarding Ashante being in the audience with another lady a couple
You want to hear
weeks
something
ago.
kind of surprising?
Carmen Petrovic is falling for his bullshit. Yeah, that's the surprise.
No, not that part. For the longest time, I kept seeing her name all over like the IWC, and I was like, "Who is this?" And then now I've finally seen out who this is.
Carmen
And that
Petrovic,
too.
she's very good. She's very good. But
That's her.
so it looks
She's
like
so upset.
you know, and Ashante knew her when her birthday was that had just passed. She's feeling it, guys. She's feeling the vibe.
It's official. Next
And
NXT
again,
deadline.
I just want to pat myself on the back for not calling Ashante the Adonis, Adrian Adonis tonight, because usually I do that.
NXT deadline. There's gonna be a birthday
Speaking of
match,
deep cuts.
NXT deadline. Let's go. Don't know what that is, but they're gonna do it.
But from
Whoa.
Whoa.
Oh dear.
oh,
Tony Hayes in the chat. This thing is in fact working.
Wait, let's see.
Hey, Tony
Everyone
Hayes.
put in the chat.
It's definitely working.
Hello, Tony. Hello, Lauren. My
Lauren,
boy
I'm
Mac
with
right there.
That's right.
I need Andre
This is
Chase
the new
to get
layout.
his wins. I need Andre Chase to get blood from Rich Holland. I'm still angry that Rich Holland beat him in that ambulance
Tony's
match.
here.
I still
Max
thought
here.
Andre Chase
Forward.
should have won that match.
I'm all about
Yeah.
Chase. Yep.
So many people use this in like real life. This hand motion.
Real life wrestling
it's
is
the
real
you.
life, Caesar. How dare you say wrestling?
Oh,
It's the
That's
you.
what-
It's
That's so
the
real to us,
University of
damn
Miami.
So real to me.
Wait, University of what? Miami.
Miami.
Oh,
Is that where the
yeah,
Rock
the
did?
Miami
Look
U,
at
the
the
Hurricanes.
alternate.
Yes.
Yeah.
Where Maui went. Where Maui went to college. But from there, I'm going to go ahead and throw it back.
Ooh, I catch that. All right, AEW time. We got through 2 segments previously. So hey, let's get through a couple more segments. Hopefully,
Segments.
yeah, let's go. We might be able to get to a match even in the near future. Who knows? It's AEW,
Yeah.
right? Oh man, I so much so that I've even lost my place. I found it. All right, so at this point, Renee Young. Whoa, take 2. Renee Paquette is catching up with Chris Statlander to talk about the upcoming Full Gear match for the TBS Championship. She's not worried about Mercedes Moné, but you know what? She should be worried about trying to potentially get run over because hey, we hear a screech and a crash. Cameras pan over and Stats on the ground, and we see the SUV that Mercedes is in, and she is once again yelling and demeaning Camille the Brickhouse, and Statlander is just absolutely livid. We don't see a whole lot of this argument because guess what? Statlander takes him out of the car, GTA style, and it's fighting time. And Mercedes gets smashed under the hood of the car. We get to see the arm of Camille the Brickhouse get obliterated within that car door. If you've ever smashed a finger or any extremity in a car door, you know just how much that hurts. So Camille absolutely took that like a champion. And we just again get a little bit more of them brawling, and it took security about like 5 minutes to finally make their way over there.
Yeah. It
Yeah.
took a very much of a while, but I do like the fact of what Monet ended up saying to Camille in the car, where right before Chris Statlander is about to take them both out, she sits there and she's yelling at Camille saying, "You can't do anything right." And that right there, that's just laying little seeds there for eventually for Camille to turn on Mercedes Moné.
Yes.
When it comes down to it, it's definitely giving you that old Shawn Michaels and Diesel vibe
Yeah.
for sure.
Camille's
So-
gonna destroy her.
But this
I
is
mean-
definitely leading up to eventually Mercedes Moné taking on Chris Statlander, Full Gear for the TBS title, which I know for Caesar, this is not going to be his match of the night for I feel Full Gear for sure, because we know how Caesar feels about Moné.
Oh, I'm such a big fan.
I just wanted
But
to say about Mercedes, there was a moment where Chris Statlander picks her up like by the neck, like she's gonna double choke slam her, and Camille grabs Mercedes away from Chris, and I just thought to myself, "Wow, Mercedes looks really soft." That was
like
my
that
thought.
too.
That was my thought. And when I say soft, I don't mean like a coward. I mean genuinely really soft to the touch. And that was my observation for the segment, and I felt that was important enough to interrupt the stream and share with the world. Mercedes Moné looks soft, and I'm bringing that sign to a show.
Thank you.
SAW.
I wanna backpack on Robbie's reference. Robbie's reference earlier and say that even though the coupling may be breaking up in the same way as like Diesel and Shawn did, I would really prefer it ended the way Shawn and Sid did, with the various power bombs on live
Oh
television.
yes, that took Shawn out for a couple of months with a so-called back injury.
Oh yes, his poor back.
But otherwise,
Make Camille come out there like a Sid and just start like fist bumping everyone in the crowd one by one. Just
I'd be front
Yep.
row.
but otherwise,
man?
Yes!
there it
That
is, right
picture, I
there.
need it framed. I need that framed twice. That's a
But
glorious.
this is where I will agree with Caesar here, and
Hell
where
yeah.
Monet's reign has been honestly.
Rain.
I was listening to Jim Ross the other day, and I'll agree with his take. I'm not saying that she's a bad talent. She's a wonderful talent. She's definitely a star power to have that Tony needs to utilize a little bit more better. And it's just the fact that the reason why, to me, Monet's title reign hasn't been as entertaining. It's just been more of a series of one-offs. We're not seeing like series of matches. And I liked that point the other day when I was listening to Grilling JR. And I think if we were to set, like, I hopefully think that if they were to do this Chris Statlander match versus Monet, that they just don't do it as a one-off. I want to see a series of matches that can get Monet into an actual storyline instead of just doing one-offs. Because honestly, the Britt Baker match should have been a bigger storyline as well.
My favorite is like every place they've gone to, Mercedes goes that names a location. Everyone's like, everywhere.
Mercedes' title run for me has been a lot like Rain. It's gloomy, depressing, and it ruins my day.
I don't know. I like Rain, but I like your opinion, Greg.
All those things being said, when it comes to Mercedes Moné and the stories that they're telling, I actually think that's not the issue. Is not the story that's being told. It's the way the story is. It's the way the story is being told. Mercedes and Chris Statlander actually is part of a long form story they've been telling since Mercedes debuted. This is the second part of Chris turned on fucking Willow Nightingale because of the Mercedes Moné thing, and now she's trying to rectify that by fighting Mercedes herself. But again, see, that's not the storytelling isn't the story that's being told isn't the problem. It's the way that the story is being told. I don't know if it's Mercedes performances, because sometimes the promos are rough or whatever. I don't know if it's the way that they're being booked, but it's not the story. It's just the technique. It's the execution. It's ass. And
but she brought in her own professional writer, John.
Yeah, for the whole show. So she works for everyone, and she's actually doing great shit. But again, I don't know what the fuck is what isn't clicking.
Everything.
But I know it is. Yeah, I have to jump in because I refuse to allow like just complete unfettered like, oh, Mercedes is bad, because that makes us all look stupid. So one person has to point out that that's actually not true objectively. So I have to make sure never to let us look that way.
I like that, and like I said, for me, I just want to see more like matches with Monet when she's gotten an opponent instead of just one-offs, which I think will make the title reign a little bit better.
Yes!
Well, Caesar over there.
Whatever, that seems kind of unfair. That's a little bit of an unfair opinion.
It's a very all these controversial takes, but I think we can all agree that there's always the great taste of Charleston Chew, and there's always that we all have a father in Christian Cage. The patriarchy will now make their way out to the ringside area.
This is a worthy segment. Let's go.
Of course, Mother Wayne, Nick Wayne, and the newest son,
Son Wayne.
Sabian.
We should change his name to something like that.
We also have some very wide security guards out there with some ski masks on. They themselves, they're not as heavily armor plated as the military grade security Don Callis had at last year's Forbidden Door, but you know what? They looked kind of cool, so shout out to that.
Cake?
But they did have cheesecake there, which was interesting. But Christian Cage realizes Kip Sabian, just like the majority of the fans there in attendance, are just fatherless losers. And then he plays the footage where Sabian was stealing the Casino Battle Royale pen and contract from him. And Christian Cage realized this had saved him from completely wasting the contract. So at this point, Christian realized the sacrifice that Sabian made. He realized that that's a true son right there who will go and step up for his father. So that is just beautiful. That is perfect. That's the round of applause, everyone, please, for an amazing moment for the family. It's right there, exactly, Tyler. And we had Nick Wayne looking a little jealous that Kip Sabian was getting the hug there.
Dad of the year right there.
Yeah, I mean, come on, man. That's your brother. Anyway.
Tone it down, Nick. Tone it down.
Kip's done, according to Christian, Kip's done more than some of his other sons. Again, even if he's not there, he's got to demean the Kill Switchosaurus. But like we said, the patriarchy has a new son. But you know what else they have? The signal, according to Tony Schiavone, as the hook signal shines overhead, and Christian says that he did what he did. He did admit that he attacked Taz, and so did the patriarchy, because of the fact Hook needs a real father. He doesn't need a father who went to WWE and 2 years later decided, you know what, I'm going to be a commentator. Wrestling's too hard for me. No, he wants a real father that becomes a world heavyweight champion, that defies Vincent Kennedy McMahon and doesn't have a blue mark over his face during every match. If you know that deep cut right there. Christian Cage is a multi-time Hall of Famer and world heavyweight champion, and he wants to also have another son, yet another son added into the family in Hook. But you know what? Hook, he doesn't care for any of that. Christian was about to do a Darth Vader type thing there, but hey, Hook is just like, nah, none of that. He's going to go take out all the security guards, and he's going to go and attack Christian for saying that he wishes Taz was dead. You don't say that. So Hook, again, pushed past the security. He took out everyone that he could, but again, it's the numbers. They're just a little too much. But you know what? Hook managed to fight off, hit a red rum on one of the masked security guards. If they had the heavy body armor, maybe it wouldn't have happened that way. All right, we get through another segment. This segment was Don Callis getting interviewed. It started off as a talk about Brian Cage and Lance Archer, which, by the way, those two guys together, they look awesome and they wrestle great together. But we talked about those monsters. We got a third monster, a very big man approached that I don't think we've really seen before in AEW. I did a little bit of research. That is Duke Davis, who was the giant that gave Don Callis an envelope and a little thing with a ring in it. Look at that. That guy looked cool. I hope that he gets signed. He's got a great look.
Why did they imply MJF has an army of Duke Davids? Where did they come from? Why didn't we establish this on television? I don't
has all these big men.
I don't like missing pieces of the story on TV. Where the fuck did he get an entourage from? And why don't they help him in other situations?
The meta-human Duke Davis. I am looking at something right now on Davis's Twitter, and the dude's got some absolute aura when he comes out to the ring. So he would be a cool signing for them, even if it's just a short-term thing. But I also kind of like the idea of MJF having this merry band of monsters. But speaking of which, I think MJF was trying to acquire the services of at least one of the monsters in the Don Callis family, the Cabinet of Creatures, and he gave some money and a ring to Don Callis as an attempt to let him know that, we're still in business. We still will work together. I want to borrow one of your guys to go and help me out with one of my problems. So we're gonna see what happens there. But it does seem that Don Callis accepted the offer. And at that point, if we don't have anything else to say there, fellas, last chance.
I think the only thing I'm going to say is I like the fact now that MJF is currently not there in AEW, and he's got guys like Davis to take care of the dirty work for him, and then asking Don Callis to do that so-called dirty work as well, to make sure that Adam Cole or Roderick Strong doesn't get to face him at Full Gear while he's over here filming Happy Gilmore too. So storyline wise, it's kind of funny, but I will agree with John on this one too. This is things that we are missing too from the character and the storyline of when did MJF get this help, and where were they this whole time when MJF is getting his ass kicked and losing the world title a while ago, and he had no help and he was just sitting there by himself? Where was that at?
And why does he need to call Don Callis for his monsters? Duke Davis is pretty large. Why did he just send him with a ring? He could have just beat up Adam Cole for it.
Right.
Like I just grabbed a picture of Duke Davis. Like this dude is a beast. I'm gonna try to upload this on here real quick because yeah, look at the size of this guy. Oh, like he is massive.
Jesus, how tall?
He's almost like as tall as like the ceiling there.
He was tall.
It feels like we stole this from his iCloud. Are we supposed to be looking at that? Or
That's where Nick got it from.
If I had to guess,
Yeah, I'm
he's
the legendary
probably an inch or two, possibly 3 smaller than Archer is. So probably definitely taller than Brian Cage though.
Yeah, so let's looking more into the career of Duke Davis because this dude is just a
looked up his
standout.
information, and it just says he's huge.
He is. He's wrestled since 2016, so it's not like he's a rookie either.
No,
wow.
I actually did find it. It says 6'5".
Okay.
Okay, so
Because they're
about-
it just says
So,
huge.
so in wrestling numbers, probably gonna say
McIntyre,
6'8".
No, they're gonna say
About
7'2".
McIntyre height, just about.
Yeah, big, strong dude. So yeah, MJF, I like the idea though that he's got just all these big monster wrestlers. Like we saw, of course, he had the Wardlow already, and we got, Duke Davis. Let's see who else he just brings out there, even if it's
Walking
just an
around
excuse to get some big wrestlers a payday.
Cherry picking, that's what he's doing.
Saying get whatever local strongman some time on there. But yeah, shout out to Duke Davis. We thought we were gonna be talking about him for like the last 5 or 10 minutes, but let's throw it on right back there over to Tyler and NXT. We talked about 911. Maybe Duke Davis can be the 911 for AEW.
Ooh.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah,
Choke real quick, before our next match, we had a quick backstage segment with the 5 heel women in tonight's main event, cutting a promo. And, actually, it was a really solidly done promo. It felt like one of those old, early Survivor Series promos that you would see backstage.
Yeah.
It's like they're struggling to get along, but they feel unified. And honestly, the heels felt much more unified going into this main event tonight than the faces did, which I thought was an interesting take. Normally, a large part of the stories of matches like that would be that the heels are in danger of collapsing and not getting along, but you really felt that more from the faces. But moving on to the next match on the card, the North American Championship at stake. The Dawn of NXT, Tony D'Angelo defending against Nunzio with Tony Mamaluke at his side. Real quick match here, as it probably
Represent
should
for
be.
us.
2 minutes, 20 seconds. Tony D retains the championship here. This was the best way to use everybody here involved tonight. We had a wonderful moment after the match. Families united,
That looks
holding
so
hands,
cool.
hugging.
Familia.
It was just, Italy just smiling up on them tonight. All it was missing was Santino Marella, to be completely honest.
Hey, no, no, that.
Hey, Santino's in TNA. He deserves to come over to NXT anytime he wants. His daughter is there, okay?
Well,
We need
Was he
Big
Italian?
Vito before we get Santino. You're making my Italian accent come on.
Oh, no. Let's hear it.
But yeah, solid match. I gotta say, Nunzio looked great. I
Right?
don't know how old he
He can
is,
still go.
but
Let's go to the socials.
the balls on this man to come out in the gear
balls.
that he wrestled in for his career,
The balls or the bulls?
both. The Johnny the Bulls on this guy.
Tyler.
But,
Yo, he is only 52.
Yeah, I just checked it out that this day.
Yeah, and I'm
very
Hey,
well.
52.
He's been wrestling a lot on the indie circuit too. He's still going. He's not
Right.
stopping anytime soon either. Tony Mamaluke is also still wrestling too, alongside him as well.
Oh, yeah, that's the
Mm.
guy,
Yeah.
right? I still.
Let's
that was
do
fantastic.
it.
I mean,
Bring it
hell,
back.
wouldn't mind seeing Nunzio come back in a an on-air or training capacity too. The man's got a lot of wisdom to impart. He's very, very
Yeah,
good.
he does.
He
Wasn't-
does.
didn't He refed very briefly for WWE as
Yeah.
well, right?
In 2011, and that was one of the things too, because it was a short-term deal, and it started because there was a show where there was some sort of snowstorm, and a lot of the referees couldn't get there. But one of the few people who was basically local that was right there was Nunzio, and he came in and he ref for them, and they signed him on to a little bit of a short-term ref deal. And I remember some of the dirt sheets at the time were talking about how Nunzio was seen as such a amazing, integral part of the locker room, even as just the referee, because so many people were sitting under that learning tree for Nunzio, right? And I know a lot of people were sad when he did depart from that referee role. So, hey, you got the opportunity. You got NXT. It's clear people still love him. The fans loved him. He was one of the big draws for me. Again, that's just representing our Italian heritage. And if we got Tony Mamaluke still wrestling too, let's keep going on here. I even wrote in my notes, why don't we, attempt to do something more with the FBI? Because, like, they can still go, and the crowd still loves and respects them. Yep. Also, I want to do a huge shout out to the spot at the very end.
Fantastic. Yeah, that was a great spot. Yeah, the crossover before taking the slam. Just me worthy moment right there.
Oh no.
Yeah, but fantastic showing. Like I said, quick match, but as to be expected, they told a really fun story in the time they used there. But yeah, unless y'all have anything else on this match, we'll toss back over to AEW.
All right. Well, hey, let's get on back to AEW. We got through about 1 million segments, so we can finally make our way back to another segment. No, I'm just kidding. It's match time. Jamie Hayter was able to defeat Penelope Ford in a very short match. It was nice to be able to see Penelope Ford out there again on Dynamite. Shout out to that. And also Jamie Hayter, because it's been it feels like we don't see much of her lately after she came back at All In. But you know what? It was great to be able to see the two of them working together on here. And Jamie Hayter was up on Penelope's shoulders, but just got absolutely countered by Hayter. And Hayter a short arm lariat, 1, 2, 3. Not much really to go on there. It was just more of a showcase match than anything. Jamie Hayter, showing off her new kind of 60s, 70s inspired look. Shout out to that. She's been doing that a lot lately. And we got something very important right after. We had the kickoff for the return of Mina Shirakawa. Mina is coming, y'all.
Yeah! Next week.
Next week, yep.
Next week. So, yeah. Anyone have anything to throw out there for either Mina or Jamie Hayter?
Mega star right there.
Ford? I mean, absolutely.
When it came to the match itself, it is what it is. But Jamie Hayter's been looking pretty dominant as of late. But I can't wait to see the Mina and Mariah May reunion of that. What's going to be happening there next week?
Right.
That's definitely going to be one of the bigger things of next Dynamite. It's going to be for. So.
Oh yeah.
Thank God.
Hey, Mariah has been referencing Mina and vice versa. We know there's some potential tension there due to some of Mariah's recent activities.
Mm-hmm.
But
that's pretty much it.
We don't have anything else to throw out there. I'll go to the final segment, and then I'll throw it on back to NXT. The X stands for Extreme, of course. Okada is entering into the Continental Classic, and this is a great way that we announced that the next Continental Classic is in there. And we had a little bit of a shout out here. Again, it's been a night full of shout outs with so many legends. And speaking of legends, Okada now, including the Continental Classic, he's got his 5th major tournament win alongside 4 G1 matches, putting him up against Mr. G1, Masahiro Chono. That was an amazing shout out. Chono, who's won the 91, 92, 94, 02, and 05 G1s. So I wonder if, and it felt to me, I don't know if you guys thought this, that, oh crap, are we going to be seeing Chono in AEW in the near future in some capacity?
I honestly think so, because honestly, if you looked in that vignette, and I don't really know if it's like a vignette or a promo, it's kind of like the same thing, but Okada actually says during that he is better than Chono is.
Yeah.
He literally sat there and said, I'm better than Chono because I am Okada. That's why. And see, maybe what they could do is maybe in some way, capacity, form, Chono gets in this Continental Classic, and then in the final, it's Okada versus Chono. But honestly, I don't know.
What the fuck? He is so beyond. Chono hasn't been able to wrestle in like
he
a very long
retired
time.
last year, didn't he?
Like technically, but he retired technically because he wanted to get in the ring with Muda and take a bump. But like he's fucking. Is Greg muted? Oh my god, Greg! Why didn't you say something before all these NXT segments is just going by?
Well, I mean, one of the things to remember too is, like Masa Saito was leading in, when WCW was doing the World Cup of Wrestling thing, right? He was leading in a lot of the New Japan representatives. So I could see Chono maybe leading in a few New Japan representatives into the Continental Classic.
He's still active as a commentary person, so he's on TV and he travels, and you always
And
see
as a
him.
fashionista.
But
Yeah,
however,
that's
though,
also true. He's very dripped out.
we all know in professional wrestling that retirement doesn't mean anything. If you go for the right
He's old
price,
as fuck.
you know, he's old
No,
as
but he's
fuck.
gonna die.
But Tony
Nah.
Khan, though, Tony Khan honestly might pay him that money.
No,
we don't
listen,
know.
Hey, get Chono on the Turner Network again?
like I'll say like the whole gimmick about like how Shono isn't an international star. I am like definitely builds itself up for a situation where it's like, oh, Chono comes out and gets the big American pop. He is, exactly what we think he is. But at the same time, like Chono can barely walk. Like there's no wrestling match for him.
Yeah.
I think there's just like somebody represents Masahiro Chono.
If he doesn't wrestle, honestly, I do kind of foresee in some way, shape, or form maybe Chono costing Okada the title. I
can
could
see
see that
that.
happening.
It feels like there's some level of involvement the way they were kind of showcasing this promo.
I imagine
Yeah.
Tony Khan would be very, very happy to just have Chono show up
In some capacity.
on a pay-per-view and
Yeah.
stand up.
If Chono comes back up later, they're drilling it.
Yeah, that was very
Exactly.
funny.
I mean, think about too when they brought Jushin Thunder Liger in, and he was just standing on the rampway for 5 seconds, and that was it. So
Oh my god.
involvement in AEW can be a variety of things. But speaking of a variety of things, let's get back to the variety show that was NXT.
It is always a variety show. So we're going to be back in the backstage section there. Sean Spears was chatting to his protege, Brooks Jensen, and he asked if Jensen was hungry. He said yes, and he said, that's good, because I'm in the mood for Italian. So it would appear as though Sean Spears has eyes for the dawn of NXT and his
Jensen
North
looked
American
so
Championship.
confused at first when he said that line. He's like, what? I don't get it.
He's like, I thought we were really going to get food. We're not going to Denny's. He said we were going to Denny's.
Yeah.
What happened to Denny's?
You don't go to Denny's. At that point, you go get yourself a cheesesteak.
Especially
Yeah,
when you're
right
in
there, might as well.
Philadelphia.
But from there, we jump to a segment that took place last week after Lexus King's loss in the Heritage Cup match to Charlie Dempsey. It was him speaking with William Regal, saying, I apologize for losing, Mr. William Regal, apologizing for losing. But William said he was proud of him for not taking the easy way out and not being his father's son. And then he turned to Charlie Dempsey there and said, what about you, Charlie? Are you your father's son? And Charlie said, we'll see. And I love these moments on screen between William Regal and Charlie Dempsey. It's great. I don't know what their long-term plan here is, but I'm happy with it. And Charlie Dempsey just continues to improve, not just in the ring, but also with his character work. And that mustache is just out of this world. I don't know how he grows such a strong mustache. Like, you could hang like children from that. They could just grip it and you can swing them around viciously.
I clarified that one.
Had to. Realized how it sounded when I was saying it. Yeah. It's late, guys. But yeah, fun backstage segments there. Again, real quick, hopping into another, I feel like this is kind of the AEW thing. We had a bunch in a row. Had a pre-taped interview with Nikita Lyons, kind of hyping her match with Adriana Rizzo next week, explaining why she attacked Adriana Rizzo at the behest of one Oba Femi.
I hope she's back finally and actually going to be here a while, because I keep hearing about Nikita Lyons, and then all of a sudden you hear, oh, she's up for 3 months. It's like, ooh, that sucks. So
NXT be collecting them knees, man.
It's a harsh environment down there. It really is.
Just handing out knee braces.
Speaking of wrestlers who can't move around through the ring, those knees of a lot of the New Japan legends.
Oh dear.
But guys, anything on any of those segments before we toss back over to the AEW?
I just love any excuse to see Regal and Dempsey standing next to each other.
That was fun to watch. And in another world, I would love to see those two just Charlie Dempsey and his very disapproving, non-complimentary douchebag father, William Regal. But I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with this. I'm also just like that Noah run made me a big Tavion Heights guy. So I am also very excited for what him and Miles can do together. So despite the fact that they have just a silly name, I'm into this group.
I don't know. I kind of dig the No Quarter Catch crew for similar reasons that I up on the main roster like Pure Fusion Collective, because it sounds like one of those names that you would read in a wrestling magazine in the late 80s. That's like it's a Japanese team, but that's what the name sounds like in English. And you're like, man, I bet that sounds so badass in Japanese. But like in this case, obviously it doesn't, because it's only in English. But that's how I feel about those names.
Yes,
me,
it's up there with great stable names like RO&D, Roughly Obsess and Destroy.
Hey, it's better than PMS.
see,
Yeah, well, I think it's better than PMS.
as a Canadian who understands French, I first saw the name. I thought it said PFC, which is French for KFC.
Nice.
So I was pissing my pants laughing at first.
What's the P in KFC? It's
Poulet?
Kentucky.
Poulet.
Yeah.
Poulet.
Kentucky.
Poulet.
So at first glance, I saw
Good work there, man.
I thought it said like KFC, like Kentucky Fried Chicken, and I was like, oh jeez. So, new name, please. That's just my 2 cents, or quarter.
I also like how they're trying to pass off like Lexus King as this,
I hate his beard.
wants to be. I was gonna say he wants to be different from his father. They're gonna pass him off with this sort of baby face, and it's just like you can't be a baby face looking like that kind of douche.
That's true.
It's that beard. It is that beard. It is egregious and foul, and
Yes.
he deserves pain for it, but he won't shave it off. Or actually, he won't
Just-
wipe it off.
yeah,
I
I
don't
was
think
gonna
he
say
even
that.
facial hair.
You just go, It's like Jiffy marker on his face, basically. See,
Yeah.
Tyler's is real, and everyone else is.
It's gray in there, man. I can't fake that.
We can move back on to AEW.
Let's go!
All right. Hey, we had some great beards on one of the sides for AEW as we get to the main
Great.
event. With the Don Callis families, Konosuke Takeshita, the international champion, and the new and improved Coil Fletcher. He comes on out there. Spoiler alert. And we have a lot of pictures, folks. I'm sorry about that. But you know what? The Don Callis family comes out there, and so does Ricochet. Ricochet has gone in here with a mystery partner. Who is that partner? Is it Will Ospreay? Is it Mark Davis? Is it one of the Hurt Syndicate? No, it is the return of Powerhouse.
Oh, can I do the voice then? Hold on.
Oh man, no.
Powerhouse Hobbs.
There we go. I like that. That's a good one.
The Powerhouse.
There we go. So yeah, Powerhouse Hobbs is the mystery partner. Him and Ricochet looking great. They had as close as you can get to matching attires on short notice, I think. But they looked awesome as a team, and they worked really well together. Like, do we see that one moonsault off of the shoulders of Powerhouse Hobbs? I mean, come on. These guys worked really well together, and it was awesome to see Hobbs back. Hobbs is this sort of entity in wrestling to me because of the fact that somehow, some way, the dude is absolutely shredded. And at the same time, every week, I always think he looks bigger and bigger. So that's Powerhouse Hobbs is just a next level athlete through and through. But hey, Powerhouse Hobbs is coming in here. The big story with this, his deal with the Don Callis family ended early October, and he's a little upset that they had all of these monsters in the Don Callis family, and Don Callis never made any attempt to reach out and bring him back into the fold, especially because he was such a big monster and because of the fact that he fought alongside them through and through, and he even put his career and his health on the line for them. So we'll probably get some more stuff through there, but man, Hobbs looked great. Ricochet looked great. All of these guys did tremendous, and we had a great one-on-one encounter towards the end of the match when it came down to Takeshita and Ricochet just going at it back and forth. If they weren't countering each other, they were just one-upping each other, and it was tremendous. We are definitely 100% building up towards some sort of a match for the international title. They also made sure to let us know and remind us constantly throughout the match, Ricochet has yet to be pinned or submitted in a one-on-one match, and he hasn't lost any in that regard. And we get to the very end. Hey, Shooting Star Press and the Ricochet variant of the Hidden Blade. Has that been named yet? Does anyone know?
I think it has Spirit something.
Spirit Gun. It was a Spirit Gun.
Spirit Gun. Yes.
Spirit Gun. Hidden Blade and the
Yes,
Spirit
the
Gun.
Spirit Squad. Damn it.
Fuck you.
I
You
wanna
called
say
it the
Spirit
Spirit Gun?
too.
Yes, he
He
called
called
the
it
Spirit Gun.
He basically, they called it a Spirit Gun because he's
John is
basically
deeply
aiming-
bothered.
Gun
It's a
right
Yu Yu
out of the
Hakusho
ring.
reference, but the move
Is that
sucks.
what that is?
It's Yusuke's fucking finishing move. But the
Okay.
move, but Ricochet's move fucking stinks. Why
So
is he
everyone-
doing a derivative move? Like, imagine coming into the WWF in 1998 and being like, I want to do a tombstone, but like the other way. Like, Undertaker would slap the shit out of you. Undertaker would spit in your fucking face, and him and the BDK or whatever, they would jump you.
BSK.
Or BSK or whatever fucking KKK shit they were doing.
Oh my god.
Baby,
I don't trust those fucking people. I don't trust him. I don't trust him.
The
Anyway,
Godfather was in it.
yeah, man, the Godfather was a stoner like me. We just kind of show up and we're like,
Could you imagine?
we're just like, oh shit, I think this is racist, but they're my boys. You know what? I'm just gonna give them a benefit of the doubt. Listen, Ricochet doing that move, I think, with no storyline context is ass. And then the execution is ass. Will Ospreay's Hidden Blade looks like it kills people. It's a very
huge.
scary move.
Put someone's head in the front row.
Ricochet with his sliding clothesline, bro. AJ Styles does that every week. Get the fuck out of here with this shit. It's the
United
ass. It's the ass gun. Ass gun.
But I do want to say, I do think a lot of this is going to be because I think Ricochet and Ospreay are, again, the antithesis of one another in AEW, and they will be the perpetual rivals moving forward. And, you know, this, I hate the name Spirit Gun. I want to come up with something better for that. So we'll throw that out there. Chat, if you have an idea, let us know. But I do like how he's doing it kind of the reverse of Ospreay. You know, he does it to where the wrestler sees it coming. And, you know, it's not a blade, it's a gun. So I do like those kind of small little finesse things in there when it comes down to Ricochet trying to do the opposite of Will Ospreay on several things.
Is it the obvious dagger?
Hidden Blade and the obvious dagger.
Hey, I just want to say one thing, kind of what to live with John was saying. Could you imagine like the reverse tombstone, so they're facing the crowd the first time on television? Their faces, how that would look, is like about to get dropped in their head.
Steve Austin does not have to imagine.
Stop it.
I don't know why we were talking about reverse tombstone. I'm just thinking of Survivor Series when like William Regal just spread his legs out as far as he could.
Oh yeah, and that was when Undertaker returned.
Yeah, he returned and attacked every low carder on the SmackDown roster at the time.
Yeah,
When he says reverse tombstone, I think of the fucking Frankie Kazarian Adam Page finish.
I think Matt Hardy was supposed to be one of the dudes who got obliterated by Undertaker, but instead he just goes out and just is watching it from the outside.
Incredible.
I didn't want none.
One of the most Matt Hardy things I have ever heard in my life. But you know what? Let's get on back to this because, hey, Spirit Gun time. Got that victory. And speaking of champions getting pinned, Ricochet just pinned Konosuke Takeshita. And I'm sure he's going to be probably getting another international title match soon. And we just have variety after variety of wrestlers coming on out here following this. Of course, Takeshita, they announced, is going to be taking on Adam Cole, Bebe, next week. So Adam Cole, Bebe, he, boom, runs out there and is kind of trying to help save matters. Mark Davis comes out there. It is just pandemonium as we speak. Yep. Cage and Archer come out there. The Don Callis family are all out there. Mark Davis and the return of Will, by freaking goodness gracious, Great Balls of Fire Ospreay runs right out there and saves who is it that he saved from the screwdriver? Mark Davis.
Yep.
Saved his boy Mark Davis from getting screwdrivered by Coyle Fletcher, saving him from a fate that happened to him. And we are just seeing it was a 4-on-3. We don't usually see the Don Callis family as the ones getting outnumbered and outgunned here, but we again had Hobbs, Ricochet, Davis, Ospreay, and Adam Cole, baby.
Look at all those beards.
Outnumbering, we talked about beers, outnumbering Fletch, Cage, Murderhawk, and Takeshita. Like, we're probably getting some sort of a 6-man, an 8-man, some sort of.
Murderhawk has a beard. He should be on their side.
Murderhawk's got the association loosely with Vincent and Dutch. We can probably get this up to a 10-man tag at some point.
Just keep going. 12-man, 15-man. Keep going.
No, please. Nobody wants to be in that book.
Nobody's gonna sit there for a 16-man tag.
Remember before on the ECW, speaking of ECW, the WWE ECW show right before WrestleMania 24, where it was the 12 versus 12 tag team match?
Yeah.
For all the Battle Royal participants.
The new breed. I wanted to say before we finished off this Dynamite thing that this Don Callis family is the very best version of the Don Callis family so far. In regards to like what the roster looks like, I don't know about what the stories are going to be. So far, they have Archer and Cage supposedly going after the tag titles, and Takeshita and Fletcher are doing much better than they are. But just having Takeshita, Fletcher, Lance Archer, and Brian Cage in a single faction led by Don Callis is honestly cool as fuck. And I'm watching, they did a post-show promo where they're in the back that I won't be able to air here because I don't have the time to get it together before Tyler comes on. But I would like to see... I like that we finally did something here that has the this new Don Callis family working together against another team, because again, I like this version of them, and they had kind of had two separate things going on up until this moment. So very cool.
In case I missed something, who did Jake get in the trade?
He got the
LFI.
Yeah, LFI. He got La Facción Ingobernables. So they gave him somebody that wasn't going to be on TV so that he wouldn't have to fly back.
Understood.
The truth is out.
Yeah, he's their manager. And it's like, where is he? Where are they? I don't fucking know. That's their problem.
I do love when it comes to the members of LFI, because now we got Roosh, Dralistico, and the Beast Mortos, how everyone's trying to get Mortos to join their stable. You've got Roddy and friends still trying to get him to join the Undisputeds, and of course, Shane Taylor's been trying to recruit him off and on. So I think that's a real fun thing, how everyone just wants the Beast on their side.
I mean, nobody wants to fight the Minotaur.
Right? Hey, in D&D, that's what, like a 500 HP monster you got to fight with like 23 AC? Sheesh.
You're the worst. I love you.
And I love you too, Greg. And we love AEW. So if we don't have anything more to throw out there because we're a bunch of nerds, I'll throw it on back to pro wrestling hipster Tyler.
That's me. All right, so it is now main event time over at NXT, and we have a massive 10-woman exhibition. Julia and Stephanie Baker and Kalani Jordan and Zarya and Jordan Grace taking on Roxanne Perez, Cora Jade, and all three members of Fatal Influence, Fallon Henley, JC Jane, and Jasmine Nix. A lot of fun and action in this match with just under 15 minutes. It was 14:57 when Zarya gets the pinfall on Roxanne Perez, getting the win for the faces here. Guys, there's a lot of moving parts in this NXT women's division, especially here at the top. There's a lot of logical directions they could jump to and book. I honestly don't know what way I want them to go first. I say this week in and week out. I just absolutely love the NXT women's division. It's probably my favorite thing about professional wrestling week in and week out. This isn't about the match, but I did want to mention that when Jordan Grace was making her way to the ring, she slapped hands with a couple kids at ringside, and immediately both of them started shaking their hands and looking at them because of the pain they felt from the high five they got from Jordan Grace.
Yeah, I remember
she is
that.
frighteningly built. She is huge and scary, and so is Zarya for that reason. If I'm Roxanne Perez, I'm really scared right now because I'm a tiny wrestler, and I've got all these massive, muscle-bound women coming for me. But I believe that Roxy can continue to pull out these wins. But fantastic match here tonight, guys. What'd you think of this 10-woman exhibition. Zarya pinning Roxanne Perez tonight. How you guys feeling about this?
This
I
was a
thought they
hell
had
of
a
a
fun
match.
bout. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just wrote in all caps, "This is wild," and a great showcase.
Like-
I thought it was real interesting to hear a lot of TNA chants where predominantly we've always heard ECW chants.
There were a couple times we had Jordan Grace chants too. Not very long, but there was a couple.
Yeah.
Was there? Now, there was a chant at one point. I couldn't tell if they were chanting "This is wrestling" or "Women's wrestling."
Women's.
It was
Women's
women's
wrestling.
wrestling. Okay,
Women's
good
wrestling,
for them.
yes.
Hell yeah.
Yes.
Well,
I was hoping for a cross the line chant, but that never got over.
That's just speaking of women's wrestling and NXT Women's Division. I guess I'll
That's a bit redundant, John. You're
I'll
killing me here.
extend this question to everyone, but Tyler will probably have the answer because he's the NXT expert here. Could you please tell me what or what Nikita Lyons meant by this?
Stop it! Oh,
Now,
chicken!
you
No.
see, yeah, absolutely. When you study Eastern philosophies and meditation,
Damn.
it can teach you techniques
You're not winning. You're not winning.
to breathe through your ears, right? You can breathe through your ears. And that I think is what she's opened up here. I think that may have overall been meant for Obafemi.
That makes sense. You know what? That makes sense because how else are you going to handle Obafemi if you don't open your throat chakra?
Stop it!
It's a very good.
It's truly ECW in here, isn't it?
Not the mighty Ozaru.
Where is Joel Gertner when you do that? Like,
I just want to see the comment section on
Where's
that.
Alfonso? Get the whistle right now.
The comment section on that tweet. That would be wild.
Okay, but they did an ECW arena show. They had Rhino. They had 18,000 women, and he didn't pile drive a single one in a skirt. I'm going home disappointed.
That's next
What are you
week.
talking about? He's no.
Francine could have taken that bump. She's
over crying out loud.
but it was a lot of fun. NXT, they need to go on the road. I'd like for them to be on the road a couple times a month. Honestly, if they could do every other or like 2 in a row, I think it would really benefit them. These on the road crowds just do so well. They get really good reactions, and I think it's a better test for the talent in NXT to see how over they actually are. You know, I love the crowd that they have at the Performance Center, but it's basically the same 300 people every week. And you get that rapport and you get that more, I don't know, those feelings of camaraderie. And it's sometimes hard to tell what's actually over mainstream and what's over with 300 people at Full Sail, or formerly Full Sail. You know what I mean? It's like,
I would also like to add too, and plus it would also help the travel schedule out too, because when those NXT call-ups come up to the main roster, that would help them with the travel schedule as well if they have more locations with NXT. Because honestly, that's a great learning trait to have, is having being on the road 300 days out of the year, as in just staying in one place in the Performance Center. The main roster call-ups will probably not be used to that, as say like a Braun Breaker would be used to when he probably first came up. So it takes time to adapt to that.
Well, and especially if you're one of those talents that's basically been signed from a Division I sport directly to NXT, like a Kalani Jordan or Jasmine Nix. Like they didn't have that indie experience. They never had to make towns, as it would be. And so that's a really, really good point, man. I didn't even consider that.
You know what an interesting point is on here is this is an ECW reunion show that didn't have Tommy Dreamer on it.
Right?
Yeah, like I was expecting Tommy to at least be showing up in some sort of a capacity since he was working for TNA. And
Francine was there.
Yeah. Well, and I wanted Paul Heyman to have some sort of presence, but I understand why they wouldn't have Paul Heyman make a return on the CW when obviously he's, embedded with all the bloodline stuff, and that's how he'll be making his return eventually. But so I understand why. But otherwise, that would have been one that I would have liked to have seen make an appearance there that I felt was missing.
Why is Enter Sandman playing?
Stop it.
They finally got the rights?
No, CW just said screw it. It's We'll take the suit.
I mean, they could have also hit up Sandman too to also do that because he still lives in the Pennsylvania area as well. They could have easily
Still
called
makes those
him up.
appearances.
Yeah,
Right?
And he's lost a lot of weight too.
he did. He has lost a lot.
Yeah, good for him.
Good, man. But yeah, guys, that concludes NXT and concluded AEW. I feel like from here we'll go through the normal run of declaring whom we have picked as our jobbers of the night here tonight. And you know what? Just for the sake of ease, I say let's start with Neek Extreme over here, and we'll just roll around clockwise. I guess clockwise is that?
We'll figure it out as we go. Who's starting?
If it's clockwise for you, it's not clockwise for me. So Nick, Tyler, Robbie, Caesar, Greg, in that order. Let's go.
All right, let's do it. All right, fellas, let's go. Should we do jobbers for both shows or just one show at a time?
Please do both shows.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that actually.
I don't have one for Dynamite, so let's.
I don't have one for NXT either.
Make somebody a jobber
Make
anyway.
it up anyway.
Do it on bias.
Don't worry.
Hey, yeah, I'm gonna listen. 100%, guys. Listen, I gotta go with it. I hate to say he's my jobber of the night because he represents my people, but Nunzio, he's my jobber of the night because he was awesome, and I love being able to see him again. And quite honestly, I am 100% okay if something happens and they give him one of those player coach roles in WWE. I think there's a lot that people can learn from him and his years in the business, and Tony Mamaluke as well. I want to see both of them. I remember when Tony Mamaluke got released way back when. It surprised a lot of people backstage because I think a lot of people, even Bruce Pritchard, were vouching to try and keep him there. So yeah, I think I want to see some more of the FBI in WWE, but I am a very biased Italian. All right, throwing it on over. Tyler.
All right, so yeah, my NXT
just
job
to clarify
is Carmen Petrovic, for the same reason it was a couple weeks ago. She's fallen for this bullshit from Ashante the Adonis. Shout out to CJ. He hates Ashante's gimmick. He thinks it's the ickiest thing in professional wrestling today.
Say icky one more time.
I said it once, and that's all you're getting out of it tonight, sir. But yeah, she falls for this bullshit. I'm embarrassed for her. I need her to see through it. She's better than this. She's stronger than this. And god damn it, she needs to see through it. So I'm sorry, Carmen. Until you break away from Ashante the Adonis, I'd rather see you go after Adrian Adonis, to be completely honest. So pretty sure he's dead. So
yeah, long dead.
Is it IWC official?
Yes.
So boom, Carmen Petrovic.
All right, and then for me, even though I didn't watch NXT tonight, my NXT jobber of the night is gonna be whoever didn't come up with the idea of not putting Tony Mamaluke back in that ring tonight. I wanted to see a tag team match with Nunzio, aka Little Guido, and Tony Mamaluke taking on Channing Stacks and Tony Angelo, because that would have been a nice dream match right there. FBI versus those two in a tag team match, even though they probably had to reserve that for the main event, but honestly, make that a tag team match at some point in any NXT PLE, because I'm down to see Tony Mamaluke go down that ring one more time. So whoever didn't come up with that idea that Mamaluke be back in that ring, you're my jobber.
That might be Shawn Michaels' fault. We might be blaming HBK for that.
I'm blaming HBK.
Robbie's gonna get super
It's better
bottom.
HBK.
It certainly wouldn't be the first time I blamed HBK for something.
Oh, imagine, right? Okay, my jobber, I forgot his name. I wrote it down. Is what's his face that got gored by Rhino?
Mr. Stone.
Robert
There we go.
Stone.
I remember his last name.
Formerly known as Robbie E.
The Tony Khan character.
Yeah, he got friggin' like folded from that gore. I'm pretty sure he's on the ground still.
Whoa. Mr. Stone is Robbie E.
Yes, he was
Yep.
Robbie E in TNA.
Yeah,
Yep,
that's
that was
with
them,
Bookie and oh my
Yes.
god. How,
that was.
You guys hear
Wow.
that glass shatter? That's
Wow.
Stone Cold. It's his
oh
world being shattered.
no. Wow. How did I not see that?
That's
Greg,
changed everything.
go to your jobber, quick, go.
My jobber of the night was Dawn Marie for hitting that shoot 3 count after the kick out.
Yes! It wasn't just me, I knew. She's like 1, 2, 3. Oh,
I can't wait to watch the show when I get off this tonight.
she's like, I look good, but it's okay.
It really fits the Dizzy character. I'll give it that.
Now the AEW jobbers.
Yes, sir. Let's get to the AEW side of things. I mean, on my end, I hate to say it, but I'll start us off with Camille the Brickhouse. She just hasn't been looking great this week or last week. She just looks like someone who loses a couple minutes of a match after being undefeated, and she just allows herself to be yelled at and bullied. And I know this is going to be leading to something more, but it doesn't feel like she's getting anything out of this when, you know, she was promised so much more. So I hate saying it, but Camille the Brickhouse, my jobber of the night.
I'm going to jump the line and say Camille is also my jobber of the night for just getting jobbed out on a backstage segment Luigi did.
In a car door.
Terrible.
While we're calling Camille a jobber, I also want to call Camille a jobber because I forgot. No, I just felt like calling her a jobber because I forgot that she couldn't wrestle. I got caught up. I was like, oh yeah, I love Camille, and then I forgot she sucks. So good job.
And then if we're jumping the line tonight, I'm gonna go with her partner in crime, Mercedes Moné, who did not sell that car spot for crap. Like honestly, like as John was mentioning earlier, she was looking soft. And as of late, I don't know what it's up with Moné, but she is not selling like anything. She used to be so overdramatic.
Two different ways, but okay.
Okay, so between
I'm going with that one too.
How close between Caesar and Tyler? How close is this entire segment coming to being jobber of the night?
Yes.
I mean, it's close.
It's close.
It's close.
It's close. My AEW jobber was different. It's actually to piggyback on John being angry about Spirit Gun, because Spirit Gun is fucking stupid. And Ricochet's a nerd, and he missed calling it Spirit Tomb if you were going to go with anything like that. And yeah, so boom.
Because of copyright.
I mean, I guess different gimmick, right?
No, Caesar, all you have to do is hyphenate it. All right, copyright is easy to fucking get around.
No, that's what the shit they would say probably. We couldn't do it because of copyright.
And besides, wrestling and copyright, they screw things up left right. Come on, remember when Balls Mahoney was in TNA briefly? They couldn't call him Balls Mahoney, so they called him Cajones. The Taz called him Balls Mahoney 14 times.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't jump the line.
Too, so. That at no point in time tonight did Bubba Ray shout, "My balls." Like, obviously Taz isn't on commentary in NXT, but like, there was no Taz my balls moment tonight, and that's a real fucking shame.
I feel like that's a Bully Ray.
Or right in the hand
It is. You're right. It is. Yeah.
I can't jump the line, but I'll just. I'm just gonna say, because of my pure love I have for her, I'll say Mercedes, and that's it.
Okay. So only Tyler did not think that was the worst thing of the night.
Look, I pick on Mercedes Moné a lot. I have been very outspoken as a non-fan of hers from her very beginning as Sasha Banks. The first meme I ever got a lot of shit for online was Aaron from The Office shouting, "I just don't get it. I don't get it," in reaction to Sasha Banks. So, like,
remember when she was like 95-time women's champ?
I mean, I remember when she was angry
not to
at her
exaggerate
score in the
numbers.
video game. Like, she had like an 82 in the game. She's like, "That's why I was on your stupid commercial." So it's like, I haven't liked her for a long time. So I mean, I'll
say this to sort of take your side, Tyler. I remember a very long time ago during the Four Horsewomen run when I was adamant that Mercedes was the worst promo of the
Nobody fucking cares. I hate all of you. Shut the fuck up. All you sucking dick now. Mercedes was the best horsewoman. All that Charlotte shit can go to hell. Becky's fucking sucks. Bailey is actually very nice. I like Bailey.
We all like Bailey here.
Yeah, Bailey.
We all like
Bailey across the board.
Bailey
We're all Bailey buddies.
The Bailey buddies.
I love Bailey.
Hey, let the record show. I think at this point we would have all said, if this was the case, Bailey would have been our megastar of the night. So hey, let's go to the complete other side of the spectrum, and we'll look at the megastar of the night. Hey, NXT megastar of the night. Let's start there. There was a lot of people to choose from, a lot of great NXT talents, and a lot of nostalgia when it comes to the ECW side of things. Since I already said Nunzio, I can't go with that one again. So you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and say I really lost my mind, even though you can kind of see it coming. Rhino, like when the Man Beast came out there, when it was time to gore, I lost it. That was again, I know I referenced 911 earlier, but come on, this is so much more iconic.
Not just the gore, but the gore with the classic ECW lights out.
Exactly. The lights out sealed the deal there. When that happened, I'm like, I knew they were going to do something like that.
Tyler.
All right, so like we said, there's a lot to choose from here. So I'm going to make my pick from the women's match here tonight. I'm going to give it to Zarya. She looked incredibly strong. That spear that she inadvertently hit Jordynne Grace with looked just brutal as hell. And if you can make folding Jordynne Grace in half look believable, then you're an absolute beast. So I look forward to what they do with Zarya going forward here. She got the pinfall over the women's champion, so clearly she'll be in line for some sort of contendership here with that. But for tonight, Zarya is my NXT megastar.
All right, then it goes to me who didn't watch the show, but my NXT megastar of the night is going to be... When am I ever going to get to say this in retro time? I'm going to be able to say this probably once in last time, and that's going to be Devon Dudley for actually getting the tables and Bubba Ray not having to instruct him. Like, damn, he came prepared tonight.
Long-term storytelling.
He actually stole it from AEW and then brought it to the NXT arena.
Oh, dear.
He snagged one last table that they didn't break.
Exactly, and Devon... You're my megastar of the night because I didn't get to watch any of that shit.
Testify.
Oh, my brother. I can't pick one because they all did so good tonight. I'm just gonna say all the women of NXT tonight. Holy shit, they all did flawless. They did amazing. Whether it was snapping ladders or throwing each other around, or again folding Jordynne Grace, take your pick. All of them looked amazing. It's all I can really get at is that.
My megastar tonight is just gonna go to Jada Parker for opening the show pretty hot and still just being one of my favorite like OG NXT talents out there. I'm very interested in the future of this wrestler.
Right on. Hey, let's go over to the AEW side of the spectrum now. And I'll start us off right then and there. I got to say, the man was on TV for a few seconds, but Duke Davis really stood out to me. I don't even think he's signed at all, but the dude's got a presence. Like, the dude is a powerhouse. And here's the other thing, too. I looked him up on Cage Match. He's been on their radar for years. He was on Dark and Elevation in 2021 and 2023. In fact, he even had a one-on-one meet match against Nick Camarado on an episode of Dark. So I think Duke Davis, he's got a heck of a potential in professional wrestling. And, hey, maybe that's a potential signing that they can have. I know, AEW signs everyone. But I think even if they kind of develop and work with him a little bit, he might be able to shine brightly on like a Ring of Honor or if they ever brought Dark back.
Nick's just basically saying anyone who can distract you from the massive scar on Don Callis' head.
That's like increasing just about every week.
Right? Is it just me or is it getting bigger and more red?
I'm seeing it too.
Like, it's just absurd now. But I got Duke Davis. That's my man. I got to give a huge shout out to him. The fact that you could steal the show by literally just walking on screen, not even saying or doing much. You just handed an envelope to one of the biggest heel managers in professional wrestling right now. That's it factor in spades. So I got to respect that. Tyler.
Shelton Benjamin, Bobby Lashley, MVP. I don't get to watch AEW as regularly as I used to. Part of this is because we cover what we cover here, guys, and we kind of fall hardline into what we look at. But I'm glad to see them rectifying what didn't go properly for them when they were back in WWE. This is something that should have been happening there, and you know what? One Booker's loss is another Booker's gain. So I'm real glad to see what they're doing here, and I hope to see it continue to go that way for them because clearly they have some control over what they're doing, and they need that. They have an idea. They know what their gimmicks are. They know what their characters are. They understand it. I've been saying this a lot after I heard it said once, but they also understand what their gimmick isn't, and that is just as important. They know the limitations of what the character should be doing and and all that. So I'm here for that. So they're collectively my megastars tonight.
All right, and then for me, for the AEW Megastar of the Night, this is definitely going to be something that I haven't get said in a while, or I've never got to say at all. But for the first time for my Megastar of the Night, it's going to be no other than the Patriarch himself, Christian Cage. I felt like the promo he delivered tonight was completely savage. He basically told Hook, "Look, I took your daddy out for a reason. I even went and took a lead pipe and took his knee out," which would play on to the real life stuff with Taz getting a knee replacement surgery, which is a great play on that one. And Christian Cage, every week, I always kind of get to an edge of my seat, because one thing Christian has been able to do for the past 30 some years that he's been in the business alongside Adam Copeland is his ability to do promos. A lot of people don't realize it, but Christian has that charisma. There's a reason why he was Captain Charisma over in WWE. And just to hear him sit there and tell Hook, "You know what? I wish your father was dead." That was the most savage remark I heard all night long. And I'm sitting there like, yeah, that's definitely going to get Hook. This is definitely going to lead into Christian Cage versus Hook at some point in time. And also, I love the explanation, too, of like covering for the whole thing with his contract of his AEW title match of not successfully cashing it in by saying Kip was basically saving me. And honestly, this father gimmick, this patriarch gimmick of Christian, this is the best work he's ever done, in my opinion, in his whole career, and I'm digging it.
All right, Caesar.
No, I was just thinking while listening to you at the same time. I'm gonna go with the approach, since we've been talking about. You know what? I got no. That's a whole bunch of bullshit. No, if I'm gonna pick anybody for a megastar, it's the boy Powerhouse. He's back and he's looking good. I'm curious to see what they're gonna do, if he's gonna stay with Ricochet, or was that like a one match kind of thing. But I'm just excited to see him. Glad to see he's back and healthy. Hope he's around for another few months doing steady storylines, not just here's a match kind of thing. So yeah, Powerhouse.
So I'm gonna say that my megastar tonight is also Christian Cage. For everything that Robbie said, but also particularly just for me, for having the cleverness and the awareness to, while the other program is running the ECW Nostalgia Show, to absolutely run down that company and Taz's championship run on his program. Good work, Christian. You smart
And the thing
son
is,
of a bitch.
He's a master.
he didn't have to sit there and say ECW. He just said an outlaw promotion.
Outlaw promotion that your
Yup.
father was in. We all know. Good work, Christian.
All right. Well, hey, I mean, that's been us. Did you guys want to go over matches of the night, or we pretty much said a lot of that, and it's been 2 hours.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're good.
I think we've. I'd say we covered it succinctly, but that's clearly not the word we use here.
Yeah.
Kmart Briscoe.
Hey, it's Dirt Sheet Radio. Verbosity is basically our middle name here. That's
Always
when
on.
you tune in to watch us. Wrestling never stops, and we are always on. But
Mhm.
guys, we're not here just on Wednesdays. We're here Monday nights for Raw. We're here for Tuesday nights, typically Tuesday nights for NXT special
quack.
guests this week. Wednesday nights, you know what that means. It's Dynamite.
Let's
And
go.
Thursday nights were made for TNA Impact, and of course Fridays are for Smack Sound. And it's a very, very
Let's go.
late night.
Friday, Nick Mac John.
Jay and I are still trying to get our ish together here to get the weekend wrestling roundup coming your way. It's been busy, guys. Life be life. And 3NT does come at you live every single Sunday, though. Be sure to check the guys out when they go live. Always putting that. Yeah, just traffic. And hey, later tonight, if you're up really late, you can check out the Dirt Sheet Radio flagship program. But if you're like me and you got to be up early, just listen to it Thursday morning. It's Thursday.
I'll drive
now.
to work.
Well, yeah, it's there for your commute and your coffee. It'll be ready for you guys.
And during your
You
shift.
can check
Oh, hey.
that out.
This is a recap show where the 3 guys in that graphic are here.
Are they?
They are actually, and John's
John,
there.
how
He
many-
is.
As a matter of fact, this was Dirt Sheet Radio. Thank you all for joining us this week.
Don't forget, Mac and Nick will be covering WCW Halloween Havoc 1998 later this month.
Oh,
maybe
fuck
if
yeah.
Wendy's-
Don't forget. I didn't even know. No.
And maybe on that day too, if I
And
don't
possibly
have
Robbie.
work,
Joe,
and
you
if I can
can't
get the
have the
computer,
talent booking their own
I'd
angles.
probably be joining too.
And maybe Robbie will be there.
Robbie on the Halloween Havoc episode. Let's go.
Spoiled.
No. Nick and Greg just did 2 hours of show all at once, and I'm not sure how I'm gonna get them to Dirt Sheet Radio. So if you wake up tomorrow and there's not one there, this was it.
That's
But,
absolutely fair. You won't hear any complaints from me on that.
But like Tyler, our wonderful host, said, thank you all. I wanted to take that from you this week. I like the way that feels. Give me a second. Thank you all for joining us this week.
Thank you.
Thank you and a good
No,
night.
this was awesome. This was awesome. Double header episode. The whole gang is here. This is what Dirt Sheet Radio is all about, baby. We just love to talk about pro wrestling. That shit feels good. 2 hours and 8 minutes of talking that good shit. You guys have a good night, man. Thank you for joining us.